That's crazy.
Okay, so press star 5.
It's not taking effect, team.
Hold on. Wow, they won't let you mute the phones out?
Right. Nope.
Whoa. Okay, we'll just have to run it as is.
All right. Tempta. Abdurku Shayuat Biwahsamus Shilpa Tempta. Begin all things by first using the all. Warning! This information is not for entertainment purposes. If you are Black, African American, Negro, colored, fraternity, or sorority affiliated, Mason, Shriner, Jesuit, Fiat worshiper, money worshiper, idol worshiper, religious worshiper, political worshiper, suffer from mental illness, drug addiction of any kind, self-hate, depression, Willie Lynch syndrome, Stockholm syndrome, 5 monkey syndrome, a robot, stuck on persons, places, or things, do not like reading and comprehension, have a fear of the unknown, a fear of Amorites, misnomer white people, scared of upsetting Massa and irritating his plantation, have a highly disagreeable nature, love slavery, love the Matrix, and want to continue to stay plugged into the Matrix, then these addresses are not for you. Please hang up or stop this video and do not listen ever again. This is not for you, and you know it. These weekly addresses are for deities only and for those who are ready to ascend. This information breaks up families, and you may end up walking this path alone. This information will cause your nervous system to go into full shock from atoms to quarks. And if you want to remain asleep, this information will cause irreparable damage to you and may cause you to go crazy. As Jack Nicholson stated in the movie A Few Good Men, you can't handle the truth. With that being said, this is our 60-second weekly address of questions and answers with Maku Nubu Akina Sagar, Chief Brown Eyes Hawk, also known as Chief Nanya Shaabu Eil, copyright trademark, of the Atsakata Nation of Yamasee Moors, copyright trademark, discussing current events with current solutions through action. Atsakata Nation of Yamasee Moors, copyright trademark, is internationally recognized by the United Nations as an indigenous peoples organization and indigenous nation. Atsakata Nation of Yamasee Moors, copyright trademark, are also stakeholders of the United States and Canada, lien holders, claimants, and creditors of the Vatican, Holy See, Elizabeth II, a.k.a. Elizabeth Mary Windsor Mountbatten Battenberg, and all their agents, heirs, assigns, and principals, the state of Georgia, and the White House. For 62 weeks now, Makunubu Akyanat Saga, also known as Chief Nanya Shaabu Eil, registered copyright trademark, has been awaiting questions regarding his official websites, which was the reason for doing the weekly addresses. So get a pen. The websites are http://sites.google.com/sites/Atsakata Nation Y and http:// indigenous9.tripod.com. And from his autochthonous treaties. The information from these three sources are imperative reading. Come on, these and will give you overstanding of Atsakata Nation of Yamasee Moors, copyright trademark, and the ability to use this knowledge to take action. The autochthonous treaties is on Scribd, and all should have access to it now. Set up an account and continue to use the site to publish materials about your indigenous standing. Facts are facts. Truth is truth. And now is the only time you have. If you are not a secured party, Makunubu Inat Sagar, Chief Brown Eyes Hawk, also known as Chief Nanya Shaabu Eil, copyright trademark, is only available to you during the weekly address. Or email him at autochthon19@gmail.com. If you are a secured party, you may attend the interactive online training for secured parties. We are taught laws of the Mishnah, Black's Law, how to navigate commerce and contracts, discharging quote-unquote debts, bond writing, etc. Those interested in participating in the secondary trainings for groups 3 and 4 on Saturdays and Sundays may email the chief.
Nanya Shaabu Eil.
You may send the chief mail or packaged items to :Chief: Nanya Shaabu: Eil, GD Station Main, Edmonton, Alberta, P5J2G8. Our address can be accessed on Nanya Akiru's webpage at youtube.com/user/Phoenix Rose or on Facebook at ASHNYM Weekly Address or Google Atsakata Nation Weekly Address. Universal consent and permission is granted with all autochthonous rights reserved eternally by Chief Nanya Shaabu Eil, copyright trademark, for all to record and upload the weekly address and to post them wherever you choose. Our Facebook page is daily news postings by our Maku, Chief Nanya Shaabu Eil. There you will find current and interesting news articles, as well as postings related to claiming indigenous standing. Also on Facebook, we have the SF-181 page. There you will see published examples of SF-181s. Maku Nubu Inat Sagar, Chief Brown Eyes Hawk, also known as Chief Nanya Shaabu Eil's Facebook page is Nanya Shaabu Eil, and his fan page is Chief Nanya Shaabu Eil, registered copyright trademark of the Atsakata Nation. If you want to be Facebook friends with the chief, send a private Facebook message with your friend request, or he will not friend you. Rawat, Rawatep, Ila Entertain, greetings and peace to you all. Our addresses now begin at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. The call-in number is 661-673-8605 with access code 846967#. The playback number is 559-670-1099 with the same access code 846967#. We take questions over the phone internationally, domestically, from east to west, sisters and then brothers. We also answer questions via Skype and Facebook messaging. To join in on Skype, call Nanya Eil. We ask that you mute your phone by pressing *6 and Skype call during the recording, unless you have a question, of course. Abud Gadur, White Power. Maku, the floor is yours.
Tell Anson Katursa, hang up and I'll see if I get the board back. So obviously somebody, that's why they wanted to do some pulsing on the call as you were doing the intro.
I heard that. Okay.
Yeah. So hang up and I'll see if I get the board. I hung up. They ain't letting me. There, Saw? Wow, they are not letting me mute out nobody. Okay. So before we begin, before we start, for those that have the Go book, go to page 220. Rawa Kamiko. Those who have the Go book, go to page 220. I'm going to read the prayer of Aset for women. Okay. 20 of the book. Karud Rahum Alani. Neb. Karud Rahum Alani. Aset. Samutni. Good. Imudams. Samutni. Ray. Pa. Ab. Shil on.
Wow, they started already with that. Oh, we're muted. No one can hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
They started already with that. You got kicked off. You need to let him know on Facebook.
Okay. Really free credit scores. Really free. I've got to update my email.
White power.
White power.
White power. White power. White power.
White power.
White power.
White power.
This is just truly evident what's going on.
I thought the cat.
So if my crew is logging in now, it's calling. They already know what this week is going to be about.
You know, we're all ready for me to take it down there. Ready for me to take it down there.
Rawat.
White power.
Right.
All right. All right, I'm going to continue where I left off. Aset kimet shil raruhat. Karut rahum alani. Gadush taluth. Karut rahum alani. Gadush aset. Gadush kimet shil haru. Gadush baf wulat. Shil baf wulat. Kimet shil haru. Kimet hadus. Naum. Kimet chalub chalub. Kimet chalub raduf. Kimet un azuch. Kimet gur hatuf. Kimet chalub akubut. Kimet chalub chabub. Kimet shil nefir yakus. Kimet shil haru. Kimet shil raruat. Kimet chalub akful.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. This is a forecast of what this address is gonna be like. Oh my gosh.
It's all right though. They're just trying to break the energy flow.
All they could do is slow down the inevitable.
They're scared.
I mean, it's the total glitch in the matrix. Fiat worshippers don't want the fiat monopoly game to end. You know, I used to be playing Monopoly. The game could go on and on. You wouldn't want it to end, but at some point, it's over. Okay, so I told my crew is
Do not pass
mobile
go.
network
Go
not
straight to the ditch.
available. Oh my goodness. You have to wait a few minutes for it to come up. So it's like he don't even have a satellite service to call, make any calls. Like the bars, you know what I mean?
Nanya Shaabu Eil.
Yes, we're waiting for Maku. He's been knocked off twice already. And now he doesn't have any network service available. But he said it should take a few minutes. He's taking the battery out to reboot it.
He's rebooting his phone.
Excuse me?
He's rebooting his phone. It could be a few minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Holly, you are on the weekly address. We're just waiting for my cool. He was kicked off. He's having difficulty getting back in.
Yeah, he said he rebooting his phone up. He had to take the battery out and he rebooting it up. Yeah, let everybody know.
So why is he saying that?
Just Tiger, I was letting everybody know on the address that you rebooting your phone up.
Yeah, appreciate that. That prayer, that invocation of that set, boy.
Pretty soon we might all have to be on Skype.
I just about finished it too.
Yeah. They had cut me off Skype too. I called back in. He got me back in.
Yep. Okay, I'm just waiting. I had to reboot. This is the first time I've ever had to do that for an address. So
well, we hear you really well.
We'll do the screenshot. And for those that don't know how to do it, you do control print, paste that into a Word. If you got a cell phone, and take a picture. I'll hold this here. Let me open this. Let me try. Oh. Let me see here. Okay, there we go. So this is for. Let me see here. Okay, now it's saying it's away. And if that. Yeah, when you see that exclamation point inside that pyramid, that tells you that it's saying the network is not available. So I encourage everybody to take pictures right now. Screenshot everything. Got it. Okay, you got it, Aaron? Okay, great. Oh yeah. So, and I'll just pull back a little bit. You have a. Yeah. I knew something was up when they won't let Saw mute the lines, and then I tried to mute the lines. They was like, "No, we ain't having that." Okay, everybody cool? Mm-hmm. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's still saying wind away. I want to see if I can make, because I have roaming. Where we at here? Let's see if I can call in. Call ended. Okay. So the only other solution on the interim is if somebody, because I'm on Skype, thank goodness, whoever's on the call, if they got a phone, they'll have to put their phone to the conference call, put their cell phone on speaker.
Yeah, that's how I got it now, Chief.
Huh?
I said that's how I got it now. They can hear you.
Okay, everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I can hear you real good. Real good.
So, Tiger, we're going to do this. Okay, cool. Now you see the game? Now let's put it back online. So screenshot this. Put that up. Okay. All right. Okay, so for those that was able to screenshot, go right ahead and put this on right now because you for those that let me don't do nothing yet, Tiger. Let me see if I can call in first.
Okay.
Great. All right, so.
Tanuki di Tanuki.
All right.
All right. You ready? You hear me? Hey, Chief, what do you want to do? Title that screenshot instruction by what's the name? Freecom.com. They're the ones that they're the ones that control the system on the phone line. So obviously they're working with somebody to be able to block it. Freeconferencecall.com. Because I couldn't mute the line. See, when I bring Patch in for her landline, they allow her. They can switch the cord over to her. They take it from me. The account is under my appellation, not hers. Right, we got a conversation, and I was speaking on a conference call about why I couldn't get in because I have to use a different number. I can't even use the original. The number you guys called is not the number I can call in on. I have to call on a different number to act.
Oh, okay.
So this is the type of stuff that we got to go through behind the scenes that people do not see.
Marco.
Sure.
There's a strong echo going on.
Well, it probably accommodates. So, Tiger, you can take away the phone from the speaker on your end. That might cut down the echo. Yeah. Okay. How does that sound? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. So I'm going to continue where I left off. This is now for all the women out there. I'm telling you, page 220 of the Go Book. You know now.
Mm-hmm.
This is called the prayer of asset for women. So if y'all got issues, yes, this is the one for y'all because they was blocking me from completing this because I'm not done yet. Where was I before? So rudely interrupted. Okay. So, let me see the last period. Okay. Shil Abdul-Tud. Shil.
Ooh, Whoa.
Oh, my goodness.
They're knocking everybody off the phone. They knocked me off earlier, just a few minutes ago.
Wow. They know. They know. Wow.
Yep. If you didn't know, now you know.
So what's this, the third time or the fourth time?
I think it's the third time already.
Third time.
Oh, there.
And we'll get started. Wow.
They don't kill my vibe.
Now they're blocking me from coming in. Wow. I just did you the obstruction. Okay, well, you go ahead and post that right now because I'm preoccupied with this. You go ahead and upload that. I'm gonna try again. Wow, that prayer of ascent is powerful. Okay, I gotta reboot. I'm gonna reboot the phone again, Tiger.
Okay, they can hear you.
Yeah, just tell everybody I gotta reboot the phone.
Y'all hear?
Yes.
Okay.
So Dr. Cresswell thing is just she probably was sick the rest of the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. They're like, no, we're not going to let you put this and do none of this spell casting. I was like, it's too late now because that's all that's going to happen. A whole bunch of people, the women mostly, are going to ask me if they don't have the Go Book, they're going to ask for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. somebody has, a woman they care about, they're going to take that and they're going to say it for them.
Oh.
See? See? See what I'm saying?
What the hell was that?
So there's your answer. There's your answer right there.
Wow.
There is your answer. They don't heard that and that was like, whether it was the grades or what. They're like, no. I said, no, I don't care. Even if what Richard Schultz is saying about the six-star queen coming to smack everybody, let's do this.
You say, let's do this.
Okay. I'm going to go in. I have to get straight into it.
Like, really?
That's crazy.
Take her beating and get it over with.
That's right. Just try to delay it, that's all.
All right, I'm in.
Back in.
What's up? Everybody there?
Yeah, we're here.
You're not on the call, though.
Nina.
Yeah, Chief. Yes, Chief.
White power.
Like power. Present.
White power.
Okay, before we start, we're going straight into it because, as we know, them Braves that ain't too happy with me right now. So here's what we're going to do. This is going to be the theme for today's address.
That system is our enemy. When you're inside, you look around, what do you see? What people we are trying to save. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged. And many of them are so inert, so hopelessly dependent on the system that they will fight to protect it. Were you listening to me, Neil? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was with the devil. Read it. It's another training program designed to teach you one thing. You are not one of us. We're one of them. What are they? Sentient programs. They can move in and out of any software still hardwired to their system. That means that anyone we haven't unplugged is potentially an agent. Inside the matrix, they are everywhere, and they are nowhere. We have survived by hiding from them, by running from them. But they are the gatekeepers. They are guarding all the doors. They are holding all the keys, which means that sooner or later, someone is going to have to fight them.
So that's the theme for this week's address. And because of the technical issues that we have, I have to play a little song before we continue. And then we'll get directly into the question. This song is dedicated to Wall Street, International Monetary Fund, Rothschild, all those Yankee plans. So again, this track was dedicated to the Rothschilds, to the International Monetary Fund, Bank of International Settlements, and the whole banking brotherhood in relation to what happened this previous Wednesday on Wall Street. So with that, we're going to go straight into Q&A. So we're going to start international with the women, then the men. Then we're going to go East Coast, West Coast, as always. So international, that's Africa. That would be Trinidad, Tobago, Ecuador, Guatemala, Papua West New Guinea. Any women first, and then the men. So any women international that's on the call that have a question. Going once. Haiti, any women from Haiti? Going once. International women going twice. International women going 3 times. All right. International, any men. So that would be Papua West New Guinea, Greece, Ireland, France, Germany, Spain, England, Morocco, Nigeria, Malta, Russia. Any men international on the call that have a question. Going once. Going twice, going 3 times. All right. Now we're going to go East Coast, West Coast. So any women on the call in the East Coast time zone. So that's Toronto, Montreal, Quebec, Maine, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Hold on a second. Let me unmute. Okay. So if any women that was on the international that did have a question, because I had you on mute. If you're on, say so. If not, we'll just go to the East Coast. Same thing for the men, international. Okay, so any women on the East Coast, Eastern time zone that have a question? Any women in the Eastern time zone going once? In the Eastern time zone going twice? Any women, Eastern time zone going 3 times? All right. Any men in the Eastern time zone that have a question? Any men in the Eastern time zone going twice? Okay, start. Let's do this again. It looks like we had a technical issue. Any women in the Eastern time zone that have a question? We're going to start again. Yes, any women in Eastern time zone that have a question? Okay, going once, going twice. Hotep.
Chief, this is Dakota. Did you see the posting of I think they said the aliens that are walking the earth?
I think that was the one where they said that they're disguised as humans are walking around. Yeah, I saw something to that effect, but that's nothing really new. It's kind of old news, especially because you have a holy tablet, so that shouldn't really be a surprise to you. But yes, they're coming out more and more with that because the concern. What is the fundamental concern that they have about a revelation of that magnitude going to mean?
No money.
Nobody's going to work.
Well, that sounds good.
There's a better system, but the current system will have to die. Hence the reason of what happened in Wall Street on Wednesday.
Okay.
Any other question, Dakota?
I saw a posting about, we're leaving the 3rd dimension, moving into the 4th and the 5th, and it's supposed to happen sometime this year, and I just thought it was kind of fascinating that they would reveal all of that.
Well, you got to take things with a grain of salt, and then keep in mind, we have our own time system, and our time system is based on when the sun hits its apex.
Right.
So when you start basing everything off of 19, think of the watch that you have, whether it's digital, but preferably the best watches to get are the ones that have the quote-unquote hands.
Okay.
The old stuff, not so much the digital. But every night, because they're having a problem with the digital, Hugh had sent me an article about they have to keep adding seconds, and they have to add like a second every few years because the way the Earth is slowing down, it's throwing time off for them. So if you really want to know true time, you watch the sun, Ray. So when that sun hits high down there in Yamaka, because you're in that proper time zone, because our time zone is based on the Golden City, Egypt of the West. When you use that for those in that time zone, that's where you're going to look at. Okay, when it says this, whatever time the sun is at its zenith, that is when your time starts. That's your day.
That's it. One more question. They mentioned the Anunnaki, right, in that article?
Pardon?
They mentioned the Anunnaki in that article, and they
yes.
were describing it, and they said, well, it's obvious the patriarchal system comes from them, and I didn't quite get that when I read the Holy Tablets, that they were patriarchal. Could you explain that to me?
Well, I don't know what the meaning of per se, because remember, Anu was the ruler, and Anu had to marry Ed. Ed was a reptilian in order to keep the peace between the beings that were already here, right, that were from Maldek, but prior to Nibiru crashing in. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when you go to Holy Tablets chapter 3, which deals the scientist chapter, the best chapter is chapter 1, which is dealing with the creation. I'm just whipping my Holy Tablets out right now. Okay. The replenishing of Tiamat. Okay. Okay, if you go to chapter 1, tablet 9, verse, which is on page 102. Right, I'll read this, the first 19 verses, and then I'm going to go back to chapter 1, tablet 9, and read some highlights, okay? So you got your pen and paper ready, right?
My secretary has it. Wait a second.
Well, that's fine. Is your secretary ready?
Yeah, he's ready.
Okay, so just page 102, that's chapter 1, tablet 9. Now, chapter 1, tablet 10. That's called the replenishing of Tiamat. Now, lo, when the time had come for this marvelous replenishing of this desolate place known as Tiamat to begin, the Anunnaki, Elohim, also called angelic beings, reconstructed 2 places under the command and rule of the selected one, El Maluk. And El is the Maluk, means king. He who ruled from the heavens, being called the light of the heavens and the earth, to whom there were no partners. El Elo, who is also Anu, first commanded the Anunnaki to reconstruct the 2 places, the firmaments. Up there in the firmament, which is the asteroid belt in the sky, which is between the lower planets and the outer planets where the water is. And the planet Tiamat, Earth, is one of the lower planets because Tiamat, the planet Earth, had become empty and desolate. No sun's light shined through the dust clouds onward to the surface of the waters, and the wind of Nibiru blew and moved the black dust clouds. Conversing amongst each other, the 24 selected, 12 agreeable and 12 disagreeable, called the Yahwehims or Elohim, asked Anu, "Let there be light," and the light was. And the Anunnaki saw how agreeable the condition would be with this great light again, and separated the light from the darkness. The Anunnaki called out that the light is daytime, the darkness for each of this planet, the darkness for each side of this planet is to be in a state of shadow as the planet moves back into phase. So you should not be using the word night. You should be using the word shadow. Shadow hour, when the sun has set, gone underneath the horizon, as we call it. This they called the shadow hours or nighttime. As a result of that, there was dusk and the beginning of a new day that took one period of 7,000 years. These are the words of speech in the beginning, for in the beginning was a conversation. This is verse 13 of chapter 1, tablet 10, verse 13. And this set of words was between the Anunnaki, and these words were about the Elohim creating Elohim. This is how it was in the very beginning of this new cycle. By way of these Anunnaki, all the new things were made. Thus, there was not anything that was made or reconstructed that was not made by them under the command of Anu. All physical life and eternity for your soul or your ether body was to be and began. This is all by way of the all, yet some of you still have doubt. El Elo is your appointed deity in the heavens and the planet Earth. Anu, who is Ilion El, the most high, the highest. The all. El Kulum knows your secrets and disclosures. El Kulum knows what you earn and lose, as your body knows your every thought and move. So now let's go back to Chapter 1, Tablet 9. Let's see. Okay, let's go to verse 180. This is chapter 1, tablet 9, verse 180. This is on page 94 of the Holy Tablets. Okay, we'll start at 179. While on the surface, this is pertaining to the Samim Diro who live in the caverns in the center of the planet. While on the surface, on the other side of the Red Sea, eastward of Eden in Chaldea, the demon beings Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma were coming back and forth to Earth from their star constellation Procyon, the planet Nirvana, for thousands of Earth years. So this disclosure by that article you saw about, they're saying, beings are here. They've been coming back and forth. They were right in front of people, broad daylight. People ain't even studying it. You see what I'm saying, Dakota?
I get you.
Okay, now continue on at verse 80. They are savage animals and are also called Chaldea, meaning demon. They became known as the original Asiatics. All of this was going on. There were different kinds of evolutionary humans, human and behemoth, that were living on this planet Earth in the same era also. You had the genus Homo, the Australopithecus. The Australopithecus was a creature who lived many millions of years ago. They differed chiefly in size. There were two types of Australopithecus. The first form was those who stood 4 feet and could walk erect. The second form was the Java man who called Pithecanthropus, meaning monkey man or ape man. The other species was Paranthropus. Then you had the other types like the Neanderthal who lived for 100,000 years and then disappeared. Then there's the Cro-Magnon, who was said to have roamed Europe 400,000 years ago, including Homo erectus and many other species in between. The Peking man also belonged to this species, who were here 500,000 years ago, long thought to be along the migration of modern man. The Peking man was a type of prehistoric man who lived about 370 and 5,000 years ago in what is now northern China. Members of the species Homo erectus, erect man, stood about 5 feet tall or 150 centimeters tall. They had a brain about twice the size of Australopithecines. Most of these species of evolutionary man came from the ape family. Among the different species of ape man, you have the black-haired Lar. This is where you get the word Lord or Master from. The Lairs, which is plural for Lar, were recognized for their intelligence. These layers were the head monkeys or spiritual monkeys well known. This is where the word monks comes from. When the Anunnaki chose to breed by gene splicing through Jishtu, one of the Anunnaki and Nimpi, to breed the first Mami here, they chose to breed with the layers because of their high intelligence. The red-haired orangutan was also a very intelligent ape, and the brown and black chimpanzees had the best brains on the scale of evolution.
Yeah.
So, Dakota, getting back, because I haven't forgot the point, of the matriarchal and patriarchal system. We have to keep something in mind here. The way Mother Nature has made it on this planet, there will always, always, always be more women than men. Now, when you look at the old pictures of the caciques, as they would call them, or the chiefs, or the sekems, a lot of them would have 5 wives or more than one wife, numerous wives. That was what? A support system for the woman. And this is when people talk about we want to go back to the old ways and how we used to do stuff. Some of the things, they were sound, but in this modern era, people would not necessarily agree with them. Not because it's incorrect, it's because of what? Programming.
Yeah.
See, now they're already teaching, and some kid they caught a teacher teaching preschoolers about homosexuality without the consent of the parents, and he happened to be Nubian. He said, "I don't care what the parents think." This is what his response was.
No.
So it's a political plan that was put together by the protocols of the elders of Zion.
Yeah, I can see that.
So now, what's happened is, okay, the Planned Parenthood, it ain't working. The vaccines, they're not working. Plus, India is suing Bill Gates and his foundation over the vaccines because some children are dying, some are getting paralyzed. Then now in China, they're getting all this explosion of autism. Only happened as soon as they started taking the vaccines coming in from the West. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that there is a concerted effort for people of color to be eliminated, and they can't eliminate them entirely because that will cause a star holocaust. So what they will do is they will say we have to have a method of control because they're losing it. So the matriarchal system that was established here was for the benefit of the woman. That's here in North America, and I saw an article of the Tuareg over in Africa where they have the system. It's set up where the women. Now, I'm not an advocate of that because of the chemical and the what's regarding that, but they have women over there in Africa who are the Tuareg of the Bedouin that, they travel through the desert. The women can have as many partners as they want. And what happens is the men have their face covered, not the women. And the women are the ones that handle the finances, that have the real estate, etc. It's very easy to track your lineage through a woman. It's not so easy through a man.
Right.
And what happened was when Europe came over here and they saw how the men were taking orders from the women, they thought that was scandalous, not realizing this is the way that it has been set up. And that's it ruled for thousands of years in peace. And it's the same thing in Egypt, that it was passed down from mother to daughter. So there's a lot of things that we established that now that we're learning in this so-called modern age is going to cause a conflict. Hence the reason that, Saw had brought it up, and I was not an advocate for it, but then I went to council and was like, well, we're going to have to do a warning now. And I just said, well, shoot, if you know it ain't for you, don't listen to the addresses. But this is not how things always go. We know about Nubians. Nubians don't listen.
That's true.
So now here we are. The Supreme Court says, same sex can get married, and people, a lot of people are up in arms about it. And I said, for what? They're still in the matrix, so what difference does it make? What I like about it is now this opens the doorway in accord with the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. I can get more than one mate, and they can't say nothing about that.
I didn't think of it like that.
This is how you have to. You can't look at it. You have to start looking at things from more than one angle.
Right.
And here's the next thing, because there's already a Native American tribe that said, "No, we're not down with that," because they know what it's about. It's about population control. So there's a Native American tribe that voted and said, "No, we're not allowing none of that same sex. No." So the matriarchal system, right? And here's the purpose, and your question is timely. It's just perfect. I'm doing the invocation prayer of asset for women, and I was getting cut off. How many times?
3.
Page 220 of the Go Book. This is for the women that are awake, the women that are conscious, not for the hoochie mamas and the ghetto fabulous women. Maybe some of them are conscious too. Now they'll stop, but this is for the women that's conscious. It said that invocation on page 220 stopped me. I tried to finish and they still cut me. So I said, okay, I got to get straight into the Q&A. Because that's at least maybe 40 minutes it took, just to get through that. And I said, okay, now you're paying as an elder, Dakota. You now know any just problems or any difficulties that you're having. Who do you call on? Aset, not Isis, because that's Greek. Aset, that is her proper appellation.
Well, Chief, it kind of is like serendipity for me because we were late, so I didn't even get on until right before I spoke with you. So I didn't know what you had tried previously.
Oh, well, when you hear the replay and I send out the audio, you'll hear, they even were bleeping right in. I couldn't even mute the board out. Saw couldn't mute the board out.
Okay. So that question, for some reason, had to be asked, I guess.
Everything happens for a reason. So now here we are at this fork in the road. And the fork in the road being, if we are saying we want to claim our heritage, we're claiming everything that we used to do in the past. You have to consider we have been conditioned. That's why the government is conditioning people. Oh, the Anunnaki, they're aliens, to get you to hate them. Meanwhile, Stuart Swerdlow, who's an Amorite, is saying, Anu is not on the bureau. He said if they want to get gold, the Anunnaki can get it anywhere. He said they're not coming for gold. He said they're coming for their creation. And he said the black race. And you can Google Stuart Swerdlow talks about the black race or Stuart Swerdlow, the black race, and the conversation will come up. That's why they were jamming at the beginning of this address. They have an idea, of where this is going. And I was just like, look, it's over at this point. And now we're going into the sun cycle up here. The jasper is burnt on fire up here. It's so hazy out here. I went outside. I came back. I started looking at my nose hairs, and it was all that dust because of all the trees burning out in Jasper's west of here. But I always say when that happens, I say, well, that's a positive thing because that means that the whole province is getting smudged.
Oh, okay. Smudged.
Because you got pine up in there, you got what else? You got oak, all different types of wood, and there's sage and all types of trees and whatnot are getting burned in the mountains. Plus, finding out that the mountains contain a lot of negative ions. And the negative ions are what keep away, disease and whatnot. So we're getting smudged big time. So the matriarchal system is a system that was set up before, and it kept the peace. And the Europeans came in and changed that. Now, what's funny is that these are the same men that will say they're God-fearing, own slaves, and then when their wife is either on her menses or she doesn't want to have sex with him, he goes down to the slave row to have sex with the Nubian woman. But yet he says he believes in God. But again, the Bible does say accept slavery. So this explains why when you don't talk about that or you're not down with that, you have Nubians that look at you like you're crazy because you're like, I'm not down with that.
Man, I don't know. You just have the option of learning so much, you know, because of the programming. And I understand what you were saying because I was programmed by the Catholics. I know that. But I've accepted the fact that they did program me, and I'm trying to pull it off in layers. I think
what you have to do, the way to do that is, and this is what's happening because there's a conflict, and I can tell it sometimes in people. And people think they're fooling me, and they're not, because I can tell in the fluctuations in their voice. I can see, if I see them face, I can see it in their body language. And I'm not mad at them. I just realize, and they're realizing, even though they're trying to keep it from me, yeah, they did an excellent job.
Yes, for sure.
And so now that you're learning this at your age, you're like, I should have learned this 40 years ago. You learn it, I guess, better late than never. Now it's causing a conflict because of the synapses in your brain that have been molded a particular way. So now you're challenging everything that you were programmed with, and the programming you got is telling you, no, you don't question this. Don't question that. How else are you going to know?
Well, Chief, honestly, I think the programming wasn't working like it should have, and I blamed myself as a child because I wasn't quite getting it. If I would have had more faith in myself, I would have done better. So, and not being programmed. So I appreciate everything I'm learning.
Well, the thing is, again, keep in mind, it's a 5-monkey syndrome. So if you get put in a room with family members that got a picture of an albino or a white Jesus up there, and you're like, nah, I'm not feeling that, and then they look at you like, how dare you, that's part of the programming to use peer pressure to force you to accept that. And if that didn't work, then you were always considered the black sheep of the family. Now you know why.
Yes, I got complete clarity now why I understand it.
So this is where this aspect, Dakota, gets very sensitive to some people. And I say, look, it comes back to contract. If they're telling you they're down with slavery, they're down with worshiping that which doesn't look like them, then you accept that. I say, I can't deal with you because that's the type of person that will sell you out.
Now, that's for sure.
Doesn't matter if it's mother, brother, niece, uncle, aunt, grandfather. If they're not accepting and tolerant of your position, because I had played the intro from The Matrix, talking about people who are still dependent upon the system, doctors, lawyers, carpenters, trying to free their minds, and those people are a potential agent. This is where we're at right now. This will break up families. When you take the holy tablets and you combine that with what you know about contract and commercial law, and as a quick synopsis, the movie Jupiter Ascending, that's it. All that family DNA, like Bobby Hemmett said, if you got family that's conscious, great. If not, run from them. Because they feel no way about dropping you. You know this already from personal experience. They feel no way if there were a pack of wolves at the door and they just happen to, you was running to their house and there's a pack of wolves outside and you're telling them to open the door and it's like, I don't hear nothing.
Well, honestly, Chief, if a pack of wolves were after me, I'd do better with the wolves than some of my family members. Really. I'm that conscious. I know that. But
so
interesting you brought up the Jupiter because you kept telling us to go see it, and because of Malcolm's health, we wasn't able. So we finally got it, and I was taken aback how much things they were putting in that movie. It's just I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It's about contract. At the end of the day, it's about contracts and commerce. That is the invisible reality that people do not want to face. And the more they face it, then the way they will react is going to be different. The way they're going to interface will be different. For those who have seen the movie What the Bleep Do You Know? Have you seen that movie, Dakota?
Yes, I saw it.
Okay. Now, remember the double slit experiment where they sent the photons through the double slits and they wanted to know, well, how does the photon know which slit to go through? And then they said, okay, we're going to put a camera here to see what happens. And when they put the camera, it collapsed. So instead of it going through a double slit and acting like a particle, it became, as a wave, it became a particle. You see what I'm saying?
Well, what really made me think is their reference to something like melanin. But, of course, they didn't call it melanin, but that's all it is. So they admit that what they're doing to our melanin.
Well, it's more so conditioning on how if you know that, okay, everything you do from the time you get up in the morning, it's about work, it's about contracts, it's about commerce, then you realize you're in an invisible prison.
Don't seem that invisible.
And once you realize that, the way you interact is going to change. And it's just like with the photons, when they put the camera to see how does the photon know which slit to go through, they said the photon changed, the wave function of the double slits collapsed and became a particle, and they said it is like the electron realized it was being watched.
Okay.
So that's the reason that I'm talking about. Tiger, can you turn the volume down on your audio, because I'm hearing some major feedback there. All right, Dakota?
Yes, I appreciate it, Steve.
Okay, so like I said, matriarch system is a positive system. It's a support system for the woman. And all these women out there who talk about, I don't need no man, or if they said they got a man and he's mine, what's going to happen if something happens to him? Because there is not a great pool of men to choose from. As much as the women can't stand it, some of them are already sharing a man anyway. Guess what? For the ones who don't want to, you don't have a choice.
I agree, Chief.
Not for the future. You all don't have a choice. They can play uppity all they want. Even if, and I used Atlanta as an example because they said there's 80,000 more women than men. I said, okay, if 30,000 of them go with another race, that's still another 50,000. That aren't going to have a man, and maybe out of that 50,000, maybe 20%? So maybe 15, maybe 20,000 out of the 50, 20 of those will actually be able to get a man. What happens to the other 30,000 women? And then let's take 30,000, and let's say 10 of the 30,000 of the women are gay. So that'll still leave you with an extra 20 to 30,000. What is going to happen to those women? They're going to die out. Just thought y'all sisters might want to know that. And then what will happen is it's going to put pressure on the men who really aren't doing anything, because then the women are going to say, okay, let's look at this from a business perspective. And one thing I give women credit for when it comes to business, women can be very discriminate when it comes to business. They're going to say, okay, let's do what the guys do. Forget who the guy was. They write down a pro and con list. Okay, who is this guy? What is his, okay? And she'll write down, okay, these are the pros and the cons. And they say if the pros outweigh the cons, yeah, this is somebody to get with. If the cons outweigh the pros, no, he's a liability. And I know some men are probably going to get ticked off at me for this too, but hey, put up or shut up. It's too much. There's too much yakking. There's too much talking. You know, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Women are tired already. Again, it was a woman who went up on that flagpole in South Carolina. I don't care. I know it's a distraction, but the point is, it was a woman that went up on that flagpole and pulled it down. Wasn't no brother. Wasn't no man. It was a woman who stepped to Don Lemon of CNN and called him a sellout to his face. Wasn't no man. See, that is a warrior woman. those are the type of women that are going to see the bigger picture. Like, nah, they will be astute enough to say, okay, there's not a lot of men here. Hey, we're in a danger position. Now we're gonna take this to a different level. We won't go back to the old ways. Just telling you. All right, Dakota?
Okay, Chief. Appreciate it.
All right.
All
You're
right.
quite welcome. White power.
White power. Hotep.
Hotep. Okay, any other woman in the Eastern time zone that has a question? Going once. Going twice. Going thrice. Okay, any men in the Eastern time zone that have a question on the call?
Yes,
Hotep, Chief.
Okay, we got about 3 here. Okay, so whoever said yes, you go first, and whoever said Hotep, Chief, you're next.
All right, that's me. I'm Andrew Anashqua.
Greetings.
I got so many questions. Oh, this week was so lovely. I'm gonna try and keep it down to 3.
Yes.
The first of the questions is on your indigenous9tripod.com Universal Copyright Notice commercial page claim.
Yes.
There's a notarized letter a notarized document, an apostille, notarized by Sherry St. George.
Sherry St. George. Hold on, I'm going to go to Indigenous right now so I can see what it is that you're talking about specifically. What is the link number on that? On the top in the address bar?
It goes to Universal. It's ID 25, and it goes to Universal Notice on Google sites.
ID 25.html. Okay. Universal Copyright Notice and Commercial Claim. Okay. Let me see, what is this here? And I clicked on the link there. Okay. Is that the UCC lien? Because that's not what I'm seeing here.
It's a document that comes directly after the UCC lien.
Oh, on that same page underneath it? Okay, yeah.
Apostille.
That's Shelia St. George. Okay. That is apostille. Yep. Okay. What is this for? This is my security agreement. Yes. Okay. Question?
Okay. It's saying that this is certifying the foregoing document is the official security agreement.
Yes.
So here you have listed all the forms in which the name of the debtor may be shown.
Yes.
And harmless and indemnity agreement on peace treaty. So does that mean that you're defining the relationship between the secured party and the debtor?
No, this was at the time with the Treaty of Peace based upon the 48-star flag and the Constitution for the United States of America. However, things have changed.
Snap. Okay. Keep going.
Things have changed. Case in point, what happened was Pope Francis, he apologized for offenses against indigenous peoples. And he did this in Bolivia on the 9th, which was Thursday. In there, he said he apologized for the sins and offenses committed by the Catholic Church against indigenous peoples during the colonial era. I'm going to give people the link here. I'm going to put on a weekly address. The Public Enemy video is there, and the Matrix video is on the Atsikata Nation weekly address. So I'm going to put this one, I'm going to post this here. Yeah, I'm having a bit of a issue with the posting because it's supposed to clear and then give me space for the next one, but we already know what it's about. Okay. Hold on 1 second here, please. Okay. All right. So, let's see. see. Okay, here it is. Okay, so now I'm going to publish this. All right, so there it is. It's posted. And those that's on Skype, I'm going to give you guys the link as well, so you have it now. Perfect. Okay. Pope Francis apologized Thursday for the sins and offenses committed by the Catholic Church against indigenous peoples during the colonial era of conquest of the Americas. History's first Latin American pope humbly, in quotations, begged forgiveness during an encounter in Bolivia with indigenous groups and other activists in the presence of Bolivia's first ever indigenous president, Evo Morales. Francis went further. Francis noted that Latin American church leaders in the past had acknowledged grave sins were committed against the native peoples of America. Now, when he says America, he's not only talking about South America, he's also talking about the Caribbean. He's also talking about what they call the U.S. and Canada, North America. So that's clear for everybody to comprehend that. So grave sins were committed against the native peoples of America in the name of God. St. John Paul II, for his part, apologized to the continent's indigenous for the pain and suffering caused during the 500 years of the Church's presence on the continent during a 1992 visit to the Dominican Republic. Now notice, he's doing this apology in the Dominican Republic, but it's making reference to the mainland. Very interesting why he's doing it on the island and not on the mainland. Just for something for you all to meditate on. Francis went further. I humbly ask forgiveness, not only for the offenses of the church herself, but also for crimes committed against the native peoples during the so-called conquest of America, he said, to applause and cheers from the crowd. Now, what's interesting is I'm going to put the links there because some people are not aware of this. I had wrote the Vatican back in 2008. And here's the link for this. So for those that's on Skype, you're going to get it. And for those that's on the weekly address, I'm posting it right now. And this is one of the reasons why I've been on all these so-called Moors and Autochtons and Indigents, because I'm saying you all have not acknowledged the fact of what I did and are acting like, nothing took place. And so that was the reason why I said, well, we all have the same problem. This is why coming together is going to be extremely difficult because they're operating corporately and they're ignoring the commercial aspect of this. And as such, once they ignore the commercial aspect, then therefore they have no claims. Is everybody getting this? Okay, so now here you have Pope Francis now apologizing, right? So now if he's apologizing, I'm like, that's beautiful. Now that he apologized, now we got to start talking about breaking bread. Don't tell me you're going to apologize. I'm sorry. That's good. Now, let's talk about that gold underneath St. Peter's Square there. So what I'm going to do is, here it is the JPEG. I'm going to place the JPEG as well. So I'm not even going to bother. There's no point in, I don't need to read this because I read it previously on an address, but it shows that I was in communication with them before. You get this, Andrew?
Yes.
So what this is showing is that why is he apologizing now? Let's not forget when I wrote Francis, sent the letter that I sent him back. Meanwhile, Tahotep in D.C., another brother by the name of Marlin L., they have written him and by registered mail, and he accepted their letters. He never sent it back.
Affirmative.
So again, this is showing and proving that what has to happen is these steps telling people to take to make sure that they have all their bases covered. Is everybody getting this?
Yes.
So you don't take these proper steps to make sure you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed and you're doing things incorrectly. And as such, once you do it, for example, Tahotep and Marlin L., I'm now a third-party witness. And they're a third-party witness to the fact, well, he accepted their letter, but he rejected mine. Everybody getting this? So why would Pope Francis accept registered mail from these brothers who's doing what I instructed them to do, accepts their letter but rejects mine? So that means he knows who I am. Because he knows an apology is not going to be sufficient enough for me. I'm like, no, open the vaults up. That's what I'm talking about. Let me see your deeds. Right? Because the first thing that I did was, what did I do? I voided out the papal bull of 1492. No Moors have said anything. Not Taj, not Polite, not Jonah Bay, not, what's his name, High Frequency, not Pleasant Bay. None of them have said anything about that. Meanwhile, they don't even want to talk about Barack, and Barack is not the first president, first quote-unquote black president of the United States. So that tells me, again, these guys are agents. They all plugged into the system. Just for y'all to know. So I'm putting that there, plus I'm putting the video of Pope Francis in commercial dishonor. So by him apologizing and humbly seeking forgiveness as an admission, he now realizes he should never have sent the letter that I sent him back. So all those that's on Skype, I sent you you guys have the link now. Hold on. Okay. What's going on? Why is this not coming in? Okay, there we go. So you now have the link to the audio of him sending the letter back. So by him doing this, he's apologizing in Bolivia. That's the worst place he could have did that, because Bolivia made the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples part of the law of that country. You getting this, Andrew?
Yes.
Now, what is the significance of that? The significance of that is this here. See if I got the link. If not, I'll have to dig it up real quick for you all. Nope, it's not here. Okay, I'll have to type this in by hand and no, I'll Google search. That'll be faster. Now up here, where I'm at, the new premier of Alberta, she wants every cabinet minister to come up with plans to help protect rights and land of Aboriginal community. Now, Premier Rachel Notley has sent a letter to her 11 cabinet ministers asking them to review their ministries and come up with a plan and budget estimates on how they will implement the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Yes, you're hearing that right, Kamiko. This is right here. I got the printout.
Yeah, I watched that. Was running.
Pardon?
I was wondering. I read that. I read that story. I was wondering, like, why do you need to come up with a plan? It's all there in the UNDRIP.
Because I'll give you, because here's some background that you don't know. The city of Edmonton, the city of Calgary, Edmonton is in what's called Treaty 6 territory. Calgary is Treaty 7. Treaty 6 territory extends from Idaho to North Dakota. That's just that one treaty area. So what it means is the city of Edmonton is on an Indian reservation. It's not supposed to be here. That means anybody who's Cree, Blackfoot, or what have you, ain't even supposed to be paying for taxes. They're not supposed to be paying for nothing.
Okay, so
go on.
So they have double the liability.
Oh, not double. They have infinite liability. This goes back to when the treaty was signed back in the 1800s. All right, hold on. Here's what I'm going to do is give you Treaty 6 Alberta. I'll give you all the link. Okay, this is the Treaty 6 history. Okay, the treaty was signed August 23rd, 1876 at Fort Carlton in Saskatchewan. So the total area stretches from western Alberta through Saskatchewan and into Manitoba. That is going like nearly from Oregon, Idaho, eastern part of Oregon to Idaho to Montana to North Dakota. That's how wide the area is.
Oh, I just visualized that. That is enough. That is enough area to be self-sufficient.
Yes, that was the reason why they signed the treaty. Here, I'm going to give you the, here it is. It's treaty6.org. So you're on Skype, so you can type that in. I typed it in there, so everybody can look it up. It's right there on the first page, so 1876. Treaties are what is known as what? The supreme law of the land. So in Edmonton, which has acknowledged that they are on Treaty 6 territory via the Edmonton Aboriginal Declaration, that's why there's so many casinos up here. They have one in the West End, one downtown, one not far from where I'm at, and then they have one on Enoch First Nation. The only difference with the Enoch one is you can smoke there. The ones in the city you can't smoke. So how can they operate a casino on Indian land and say that we accept Aboriginal peoples, but then they're still paying tax on purchases? See, I see you squinting your eye, Kamiko, like this does not compute. and that's the point that I'm making.
It doesn't compute.
Doesn't compute. So now with the UN International Decade, the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, it says there Indigenous peoples have the right to what? Self-determination. So now the new premier, she's a female, she comes in because they had what was called the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, because what they did was they had the residential school scandal. Well, they would still turn around and do what? They would take the Native children and put them into a boarding school, and they took away their language. They couldn't speak their language. They couldn't learn their culture, everything. So that's genocide. That's why the Supreme Court judge, who's down in Pincher Creek, what's her name? That old hag. What's her name from the Supreme Court? It'll come to me. She not Pamela. What's the other one? Beverly McLaughlin, who's the Chief Judge for the Supreme Court of Canada, had said Canada may have committed, like she used the word to try to say they may have done genocide. No, you didn't may nothing. You did do it. You committed genocide. They have a domestic code in the Canada Criminal Code for genocide. That means not only the government, the provinces are guilty. So when you talk triple liability, no, Andrew, it ain't no triple liability. It's infinite liability. Everything, what is the main thing? Fraud voids a contract. Ab initio.
Now they understand now. I understand that part.
We're hearing that Barack is saying he might sign an executive order to give reparations to African Americans. I'm like, y'all is broke. What you gonna give? The only thing you could give is land. I could see if they're claiming that the Chinese have the NYSE, I could see, because if Barack does that, then they don't have to give the land to who? The Chinese.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's why I couldn't read that story.
Right? So therefore, that would be a breach of contract because the U.S. is the number one debtor to China.
So that's why I couldn't read that story.
So now, if Barack signs an executive order to give land to the descendants, African Americans, this way the corporation gets to keep, technically, so to speak, keep the land. But the problem is, there is an export declaration that was done on the White House, so he doesn't even have, if he signs that executive order, it's fraudulent. He can't give them what he doesn't think he's not in control of. The U.S. doesn't own the land. Everybody getting this?
Yes. So
therefore, when you stand on your indigenous standing, for those who sent your declarations off to the governor, now you have what? A claim. So as far as I'm concerned, he shouldn't give nothing to the African American because remember, the Emancipation Proclamation was done hundreds of years. This is after the Civil War. They had already did what? The Legislative Act of 1871. They reorganized the U.S. as a corporation in 1933. Then under an executive order by George W. Bush II, they are selling off all their infrastructure, That's why some of the toll roads in New York, they're not owned by the state of New York. They're owned by countries like Germany and Italy. Own those that people got to be paying their tolls. That ain't going to New York. That's going to Italy or Germany or Belgium. You getting this, Anthony? Andrew?
Oh, yeah, I'm making notes on all of that.
So now what this means is this. It comes back again to commerce and contract. If you don't fill out an SF-181 and you don't publish it, black has no standing at law. So here's another perverted thing. If Barack turns around and signs that executive order and then they start giving land to African Americans and then they try him for treason, all his executive orders become what?
Null and void.
So therefore, guess what happens? And then by that time, he didn't give the land to African Americans in compensation for what? For not honoring the Emancipation Proclamation. Then they're going to say, now, no, we're going to get Barack because he wasn't qualified, which he isn't anyway to be. He can be a CEO if the company wants to hire an illegal. That's their problem. But as far as the Constitution is concerned, he doesn't have that authority. He doesn't qualify based on the Constitution.
Because he's committing fraud.
Exactly. So therefore, that would be their way of saying, okay, Barack signed this, gave you all the land, we're going to take the land back because your black has no standing at law. He didn't have authority to give that to you, so we're going to void all his executive orders. You see the game?
Oh, yeah.
So
he'll try to void one contract with China, and then and then the contract that he signs with the Nubians will be then again void after he leaves, or the very moment he signs it.
Because who's running for president now? Jeb Bush. Yeah. So if he gets in and the Electoral College picks him to be president, not Hitlery, guess what happens? First thing he'll do, he'll void all that stuff out. That's what happened with Kennedy, because when they put in, who was Kennedy's successor? Was it Eisenhower?
Lyndon Baines Johnson. Lyndon Baines Johnson.
And then he voided out the executive order that Kennedy signed to abolish the Federal Reserve Bank. Mm-hmm. That was the first thing that Johnson did, was voided out Kennedy's executive order. See the game these guys play?
Yes.
So this is why I am saying this. I'm very specific about this. So you have to claim your indigenous standing. You have to make that public. You have to put it. So now, as they start jockeying, because that's why they have everybody distracted with Bill Cosby, with this, that, the next. The whole point of the matter here is this. When you see me giving you this, right, I'm going to do the search and give you guys the actual link. For a Premier of Alberta, I'm like, why is she saying, and this was July 9th, this was Thursday. This was the same time that the Pope apologized for offenses against indigenous people. You Nubians in the Western Hemisphere, you are indigenous. Forget black, forget African American, you're indigenous. But if you don't embrace that, you ain't going to have no claims to nothing. You're going to continually get harassed and attacked. Overstood?
Overstood. I have two more questions.
One other thing real quick. For those who have sent the declaration, I don't care if you ask me the question afterward. Once I send you all the link, y'all can now use that Pope apologizing as part of the statutory declaration that you all send off to the governor. For the ones who've already done it, no, you can't do this again because you've already sent it off. But you can keep that as an attachment to your document. Everybody getting that?
Yes.
Okay. Last question. You're going one, because then we got to move on. So pick your best one.
All right. Oh, there were so many. I'm going to go with the one that I think is most important. All right. The black Jews. They've been given the black Jews.
Yes.
I wasn't able to read the original story that was posted, so I had to go and find another news source. But what the news source stated was that the Rabbi Council has appointed a chief for the black Jews. But when I read the story, it was inferring that the chief was really for the Hebrew Israelites, and that the black Jews didn't want anything to have do not want anything to do with that. So is this new chief rabbi of the black Jews just there to control Hebrew Israelites?
Say that again. You're going out. And Tiger, you got to mute your phone, man. You're making too much noise.
Okay. All right. The black Jews have gotten a new chief rabbi for all of them. And what I read from the story is inferring that this new chief rabbi for all the black Jews is just there for the Hebrew Israelites.
Uh-huh.
And the regular black Jews who were there since time immemorial don't want to be associated with the Hebrew Israelites. So is the new chief rabbi there just to control the Hebrew Israelites?
Okay, and the question is?
All right, the new chief rabbi, who is the cousin of Michelle Obama, is he there to control the Hebrew Israelites?
Ooh, he's the cousin of Michelle Obama.
First remove cousin.
Say what cousin? Which cousin?
I think it's first remove cousin.
Hold on a second. Tiger, can you please mute your phone because I'm hearing this in the back there.
He's the first removed cousin of Michelle Obama.
Okay, first removed cousin. So that's like first cousin. Okay. Okay. Yes. Because who's the one that gives orders to the president? The Jews. So they got to have somebody that looks like you to be their eyes, ears, and mouth.
Oh, so that's why his website looks all churchy.
Yep. Because they're trying to appeal to the Nubian Catholics.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Hello?
Yeah, it's just I'm on my phone here. Now the phone is telling me it's 10:17 p.m. This is interesting. Okay. Yes, right here. For those that want to see, it's right here.
What should the correct time be?
It's 7:45 my time, which would be 9:45 your time.
Yes.
So it's telling me 10:45. So the only thing I could deduce 10:45 would have to be somewhere in London or Greenwich Mean Time. So somebody probably don't hack the phone, in terms of time. So, okay, you got it, Aaron?
I got it.
Okay, great. Okay, so now, so you're quite welcome. Okay, who's the next brother in the Eastern Time Zone that had a question?
Tamar from Connecticut.
Who's this, Tamar?
Yes.
Where at?
Where you at? Hotel Chief. I want to because I needed the links for the statutory claim. I think.
Can you speak up? I'm really having a hard time. You all need to speak up. Come on now.
I sent you an email for the statutory claim, and you emailed me back saying you're going to send me the links, but I said I needed them, but you never sent them.
For the statutory claim?
Yes.
Oh, okay. This is for the. Let's see. Give me the first few digits of your. Okay, I got you. I got you right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to forward you right now. So we got this on the address. This is for the attachments that you need for the IRS.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, where are we here? Come on now. Statutory declaration. Okay, here it is. Okay, so here's the first one. This is the image of the IRS manual before they put the dashes through it.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you do a search and put in 21.7.13.3.2.2, it's not going to come up on the IRS's website. They dash that to hide that. That's probably another reason why they're hissing at me on the phone.
Okay.
Because that means every piece of product brought into the U.S. that is sold, that means all those who are indigents got done did their claims, they are supposed to be getting a percentage of that because commerce is being done on indigenous land and there's no licenses anymore. Just thought y'all might want to know that.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the first one. All right, this is the actual screenshot because if you do and this Google search, the IRS search is there too. So when you do that, it's not going to come up. Then this is the other document. Federal judge admits he takes his orders from England.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm sending that one right down. Doing that right now. You know, computer wasn't slow, but all of a sudden it is. So we know how that go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's now the computer's like real slow.
And you said
loading.
For this, and Hotep Chief, for the statutory declaration, you say we could send that link that you have for that the Pope said, the apologies for the Pope too.
Yeah, it's on the Asakata Nation weekly address page.
Okay.
So you can print that off and add that to HGR 194.
Okay.
And then send that to the governor. That's for those of you who have not done your statutory declaration or those that I'm looking your stuff over right now. So just confirm to me that you got it off the Asakata Nation so we know that you got it. You follow?
Yes.
Okay. So now, because now, who is the governor and the Congress under? Who do they take the orders from ultimately?
Queen Elizabeth, the Vatican, and them.
Ultimately, the Vatican, yeah. Queen Elizabeth is just one link in the chain.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the 1666, 1540, and 1707 Cestui by Trust Act. I'm just waiting. This thing is just going so slow, so just bear with me. It wasn't like this a few minutes ago, but you already know because you don't call from Connecticut today. Oh, no. He's getting you all riled up now. So he getting them crunk. I'm going to get y'all crunk real.
You're doing it. You're doing a good job.
I appreciate that. Okay, so this is the last one. So you'll have federal judge takes his orders from England. In that email is the Queen amending the Social Security Act. So it's in there.
Yep.
So once you get them, read everything, contact me, then we'll talk on the phone, and then I'll show you how to put everything together. But if you haven't sent your statutory declaration off yet, you can add, and this is for everybody who hasn't done it yet. Now, not only can you do HCR 194, now you can do the Pope apologizing. Because anybody who's been on Facebook who's seen the 1828, what is that page, the brother down in Florida, it's the 1828 definitions of Native Americans or what have you, and you see all these pictures of the Indians, the Carib, the Arawak, and you see them dark-skinned, short curly hair, wearing feathers. That's us.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I just want to confirm here. Okay, so this is the last one. So you got it. So now confirm everything to me that you got it. Print them off, read it, study it because you got to know it, and then we'll talk later on at your convenience and get that done so you can get that sent off.
Yes.
Okay, you did your statutory declaration already?
I did it, but I didn't send it off. But I'm glad I caught this one about the Pope. Now I could add that paper to it too.
Yeah, because it's only 2 pages. This is by Associated Press. So you can print that off and attach that. So everybody who is, for those who might be listening for the first time, for those who are retyping their declaration to send to me, to those who have already sent it that I still have to proof, now you will get that Pope apologizes for Catholic Church's offenses against indigenous people. You will attach that along with House Joint Resolution 194. And then you'll get it notarized because everything's got to be together. But when you go to the notary, make a copy, do a cover letter to the governor of your state, send that off. End of story. Ain't nothing to talk about.
Gotcha.
Overstood?
Overstood.
Okay. Any other man in the Eastern Time Zone that's got a question? Then we're moving on to the Central Time Zone.
Yeah, Hotep, Michael.
Hotep, who is this?
Raja, calling from Baltimore.
Yes.
Just a question on the recent so-called mission to Pluto. What is that really all about? Is that a distraction, or what are they really doing up there with that?
No, I'm not gonna answer your question on Pluto or any other question, because when the situation with Freddie Gray jumped off, you were supposed to give me a report, and I called your name 3 times for 2 weeks, and you stayed silent. Then
I
you
wasn't
came
even
up
on the call, Chief.
Oh, hold on. No. Don't even try that with me. When that situation occurred, you said, and I have enough witnesses on that address, you said you were going to give me a report the following week. I called your name 3 times. You said nothing. Sharif, who's in my training, told me you contacted him, and you were complaining about it. Now, if it was too much for you to do, that would not have been an issue if you said you could not do it. You did not do it. Then you still trying to talk like stuff never happened. I don't play that. You asked me. I didn't come to you. You asked me you wanted to be a prophet for me. And I said, well, if you do this and they don't respond, at least it's in the Akashic record, you did do something. I called your name 3 times the following week. People were calling me off the address asking what happened to the brother from Baltimore. I said, I don't know. So if you have a reasonable excuse, I'm all ears. Well, I'll take your silence as tacit agreement that you don't have a valid excuse. So now we move on to Central Time Zone. Any woman in the Central Time Zone that has a question on the call. That's Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Wyoming, Wisconsin, Illinois. Any women in the Central Time Zone that have a question? Going once.
He's a young voice, brother.
Any women in the Central Time Zone? Going twice. Any women in the Central Time Zone? Going 3 times. Okay. Any men in the Central Time Zone? Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Illinois. Any men in the Central Time Zone that have a question? Any men in the Central Time Zone have a question? Going twice. Any men in the Central Time Zone have a question? Going 3 times. All right. Now we're going to go to the Pacific and Mountain Standard Time Zones. Any women in the Pacific and Mountain Standard Time Zones, so that's Edmonton, Alberta, Calgary, that is Vancouver, Victoria, Oregon, Washington, Seattle, California, Arizona, any women in those time zones, New Mexico, Colorado, any women that have a question on the call. Any women in those time zones? Going twice. Any women in the questions in the time zone from Pacific and Mountain Standard have a question? Going 3 times.
Hotep.
Hotep.
Hi, Chief. This is Kamiko in California. My question is kind of offhand. I'm wondering what words you would use in the Yamasee language for husband and wife, because I've always had a problem with the word husband. It relates to like animal husbandry, and as though the man's keeping his wife in that sense. So what's a more honorable term for each?
Zawuj would be the more honorable. Zawuj for husband, zawujat for wife, or zawuj is immediately like mate.
How do you spell that, or could you type it in the Skype?
Z-A-W-U-J. Z-A-W-U-J. Zawuj.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other woman in the Pacific and Mountain Standard Time Zones that have a question? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Okay, so now we're going to go to the men. Any men in the Pacific and Mountain Standard Time Zones that have a question?
Hotep Maku.
Hotep. Radawat, and what's up?
Anu Samawati L from Toby Carr. Quick question about the refusal of Bank of America to accept cash for a mortgage payment. I wanted to see if you thought it was because of the fact that of the devaluation of the dollar, and that relating to the fact that China kind of had the BRICS banks movement that just kind of happened, to where if the person electronically transferred those funds to pay his mortgage, would they get a better value of the payment as opposed to the cash?
No, it's not a better value. It's a mandatory. It's part of the frequently asked questions on the U.S. Treasury's own website regarding to legal tender.
Okay.
The frequently asked questions on the legal tender for the web. This is the website of the U.S. Treasury. Private businesses don't have to accept Federal Reserve notes.
Okay.
They don't have to accept Federal Reserve notes, and they also, and of course, in there, it's the frequently asked questions pertaining to legal tender. They also say that Federal Reserve notes have no value.
What have no value? Reserve notes.
Federal Reserve notes.
So when Jonah Bey in Atlanta on his show is doing Consultation Wednesdays, and he's sitting there in a picture with a stack of fiat, like he's doing something and taking a picture of himself, he's telling me that he's holding debt.
Correct.
He's not holding an asset.
No doubt.
And then the U.S. Treasury is telling you it has no value. Mm-hmm. And it has no value of its own except for what it will buy. So Jonah Bey is showing he is promoting a private company by putting their money there because the company prints that which is representative of a product. What is he getting for doing that? Nothing. So he's giving the Federal Reserve free advertising.
Right.
These guys try to tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm waiting for him to open his mouth regarding the SF-181 that we got the judge in Florida who signed off on the order and the clerk who stamped it, plus the iPads, plus the HJR-194, plus Chaz Bay's own SF-181, right? The clerk stamp. It's over. Like for people who don't know, what happened Wednesday in New York, that is connected because all the court systems and everybody is feeding off the prison system if you read Keating's prison treaties. Now, this is why I said no one's talking about the SF-181. Why? Because what that means is all the classifications, all the data, all the records, everything got to get changed.
Yeah. That's right.
Then there's over 45 supercomputers on the planet which they are giving artificial intelligence to. So what do you think the computers are going to do when they crunch the data together?
Crash.
Well, it's not necessarily crash, because by them giving them artificial intelligence, the computer has the ability to think on its own, so therefore it's not entirely dependent upon human interaction for its existence. Are you getting that?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So now, they're using facial recognition on programs, on security cameras, etc. What do you think the computer is going to do when it sees the standard Form 181 and it says, okay, a person having origins in the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa, and then it's going to check pictures like 1828 and FEO, and it'll be say, okay,
No doubt. Oh man, I'm all over that.
Who is it?
Yeah.
Was someone talking to me, or somebody? Are you listening? I'm lost now.
No, I'm listening to you, Chief. I just when you said what do you think the computer's going to do when it recognizes someone and it goes back and it searches through the archives through artificial intelligence and it says, okay, original Americans, and then the computer looks back and it sees the people of the dark copper-colored skin. It's
correct. Go on.
It's actually going to recognize people for who they are.
So therefore, the people who are considered Caucasian or white, the computer will say, okay, they have no race, they have no classification, they have no origin, delete them. Now you have your eagle eye.
Right.
So when that order from Chaz Bay was done, they effectively screwed up the entire judiciary with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that means every court case, if they want to accept Title 18 as being legitimate, every court case under Title 18 was done without due process, because what did you do? You classified everybody who was African American as black, and black has no standing at law. That automatically prejudices every case going back to the beginning of the United States judicial system. Just thought y'all might want to know that.
Dang you. Chief, have you heard of the grid websites?
The what?
The grid technology websites?
No, I'm not familiar with grid technology website. What's that pertaining to?
It's basically a website that it designs itself based on artificial intelligence.
So that means it's constantly collecting data and doing computations.
Exactly. That's what tripped me out when you said that, because I became a founding member with them just to get one, because you just sign up and it's like $96 a year and you get 7 different sites. So with that whole thing with the artificial intelligence, you just drop load pictures and it basically goes out and it searches relevant content more than a human being could.
Yes.
And it puts things into the website and designs itself on the artificial intelligence. That's freaking crazy. So I just kind of connected that with when you said, the ATMs are doing facial recognition. And, oh, that's going to be nuts, man.
It's already nuts. That's what happened with the New York Stock Exchange, because they're trying to blame China. I'm saying no, but because China's stuff crashed.
Yeah, it sure did.
The Chinese stock market crashed first before New York. Then United Airlines grounded every flight in Southern Turtle Island. Then what was the other one? Then Wall Street Journal, and then there were some other computer companies. The only stock that went up was the computer security companies. So if there's no congressional investigation into that, and keep in mind, Apple lost $69 billion over that. Mm-hmm. See, some people don't even know. So now I said, okay, when did this happen? After the weekly address.
Yeah.
So now when I see somebody like Chaz Bay holding on and taking pictures with fiat, politeness in a hotel room or whatever, in his boxer shorts, holding stacks 100, and one picture looked like he's worshiping it, that's how I could tell. I said, these guys is plugged in.
Plugged in and stupid looking.
Right? So the point is, you're telling me they don't know that it doesn't have any value? You're telling me they don't know it's an illusion? Then if you go on a metaphysical side, you could talk with Azazel Bey, and he'll tell you, they put demons in the fiat. That's what they use to put a spell. Yes, Aaron, they put demons in the fiat, in the spell, because what's on there on the $1 bill, you'll see what? You will see a spider's web.
Everybody's caught in the web.
So now the whole point of the matter here is this. If you all are not going to deal with the fact you're living in like the Matrix, you can't see it, but you're doing it everyday commerce, you can't see outside of that. That's why Dr. Cresswell-Sing's running. That's why I had to, because I thought somebody was going to bring it up. I said, I guess nobody wants to talk about it. I said, okay, well, I'm going to bring it up now. Dr. Cresswell-Sing was on high frequency, and I addressed high frequency. He kept his mouth shut. And whoever it is that called me on a 346, hold on a second here, because I want to, while we're on that subject, let's see, where is this thing here? Somebody called me from a 346-221-3229. This was on July 9th, the Thursday, which incidentally was the same day the brothers in D.C. was going to go check and see if Dr. Cresswell-Sing was having her thing. So whoever it was told me that this is their thing. They said, I'm going to read this. I know you are a fraud from scholarship, not speculation, on basic information pertaining to law that you don't talk about. All nations reside in Washington, D.C., or a part of the U.S., subject to the U.S. currency. I want to give you a chance to call me and have one-on-one in private. You are not the real deal. Ed Carini's work is proving who you address is not who they are. I'm not going to give you my info on why you are a fraud. Just know I know you are a fraud. I rebut your claims as false. You will be hearing from me. This is July 9th at 2:12 p.m. I said, who is this? And when I tried to respond, it won't go through. And here, for those that's on Skype, here you can see it's still here. I tried resending it, and it won't resend back to that number. So that's for y'all the screenshot on Skype. You got it?
That's a Houston area code.
Okay. No, I had put the phone close to the screen so the brothers on Skype can take the screenshots.
Right.
So whoever is at 346-221-3229, I don't know who it is. All I'm saying is Ed Carini hasn't shown no documentation, right? Ed Carini, and I'm mentioning it because why the hell not? Because the rest of the other ones are going to keep their mouth shut. Ed Carini don't know nothing about shapeshifters. He doesn't know anything about being able to take molecules and form themselves to look like humans. He don't know nothing about that. This is beyond Ed Carini. And I know people who think Ed Carini is Ghost Spell or the Gost Spell, and Ed Carini ain't showing nothing. And so, okay, Ed, you take pictures of ears and you can check the biometrics. What about shapeshifters and entities that can take on human form that are non-physical and have the ability to take DNA? All you got to do is watch the movie Starman with Jeff Bridges. So I'm bringing this up for a point, Anu.
Yes.
Dr. Cresswell-Singh went on High Frequency and said, if anybody has a better definition of white supremacy, give it to me. I put it on her Dr. France Cresswell-Singh addresses mental health. This was around February of this year. Didn't hear nothing. I told people on Facebook, please, somebody make sure she gets it. So Jelani went down Sunday, put it in her hand, plus the SF-181 Anu. You hearing me?
I'm hearing you, yeah.
He put it in her hand. He made it a point to get there early. The other brother, Ahanu, who called in, he messed around, and when he got there, they played the game and locked the door. He couldn't get in, but his homeboy got in.
Dang.
So when it came time to ask questions, and he's saying we're not colors, and what do we do? Hold on, let's see, where do I got this? I have it on Facebook. If you go to my home page, it's on there on the Facebook in the home page. His email to me about what happened with Dr. Cresswell-Singh. I'm just going to see if I can pull it up real quick here and just read it instead of paraphrase. Where are we at here? Where is it hiding? Just bear with me 1 second here. Okay, here it is. Okay, I was able to get there early and greeted her before she entered the conference room. I handed her a copy of the Form SF-181 and Racism Leper Supremacy document, which I did. I told her she will be answering questions regarding this paperwork. She smiled, accepted the documents, and I glanced at them as she entered the room. She went into her lecture, and an hour in, the moderator asked the crowd to raise your hand if you are ready for questions. I was the only one to raise my hand, so I was overruled. She went on for another half hour, and finally I had a chance to ask a question. I started by saying to better understand racism, one must start with an understanding of race. I pointed out that science does not support race, and the American Anthropological Association calls race a colonial domination tool. I followed by saying that as a historian, we use culture to tell people apart, not colors. I repeat, people are not colors, people are not colors. I argue that the only way to refer to a people is by the name they chose for themselves, and we didn't choose black. I go on to talk about how I too study our oppression, and the key to racism is both sides accepting the labels white and black. One has to believe they could be white and all the misconceptions of what one can make that mean. I told her I have asked myself a few questions. could we be assisting in our own oppression? Could accepting an identity given to us by an oppressor that isn't our true name assist in allowing other groups to experience whiteness? Does our inability to understand our identity support white supremacy? As I built my argument, I watched her facial expressions change multiple times, and she repositioned herself in her chair several times also. But when she had a chance to respond, she didn't address any point I made. She responded as if I had not asked anything. She went right back into her blacks and white speak, and I couldn't have been more disappointed. To give her some credit, I believe I may have blindsided her, but I would be lying if I wouldn't say I expected more. She also has a lecture series at Howard University every second Thursday, July 9th. So I'll get another opportunity to confront her on her theory, and this time she would have had enough time to prepare. I'll keep you posted and try to have video next time. And what happened on the 9th, Aaron and, are you there, Anu?
I'm here.
Okay. Aaron and Ta Hotep and Jelani and Rashid, all of them went down there. Nothing was going on. And then to make matters worse, the Facebook page that she has, Dr. Cress Welsing addressing mental health in the black community, it's gone. You can't find it on Facebook no more.
Yeah. He plugged in like a motherfucker.
So there's a picture on there where you see Alpha Phi Alpha. All the pictures that are up on that are not sideways. That picture is straight up. I think that was Tahotep's picture. But what was interesting, when I uploaded it on Facebook, it went sideways. So the question that needs to be asked of Dr. Cress Welsing, is she a member of the Boule, and is she a member of a fraternity?
Yeah, the answers to those questions would be real interesting.
Yes.
Well, I already know the answer, but I'm just going to put it out there. The next thing is, for the leopard supremacy definition, if you do a search on Facebook, it's number one. It's even over Wikipedia's definition of race.
Nice.
So for the person who called from 346 said I'm a fraud, much appreciated. I'm friends with the Prime Minister of Canada. I emailed Barack Obama. The previous Prime Minister knows my parents. My mother, so-called mother, was the first one to sue the government of Canada. Before that, nobody could sue the government of Canada. Her case is a precedent-setting case. Nobody could sue the government of Canada before Merle Baroness Henry sued them, and it was them and Indian Affairs Canada. So I guess that's why they didn't want to give me a status card either. And I told her, I said, if they're anything like the United States, once you beat them, that's when they want to come after you. Because she opened the floodgates for everybody else. So now, going back to Dr. Cress Welsing, talking about white supremacy is cool. However, you've been doing that since 1970. We need solutions now. And the first thing is, stop saying ISIS, because now we know it's a terrorist organization. Then they realized they had to change that back to ISIL, because that's what it was originally anyway. Then they changed it to ISIS, back to ISIL. Now Barack blurts out that they're training ISIL, which the U.S. government is training ISIL. And here's the funny part. Funny part is now that the key is we're going to start honoring Asset, and this is why I'm so glad they were blocking me from doing the prayer of Asset for women, because it proves now for the women out there who are going through any kind of difficulties in life, those who have the Gold Book, if you don't email me, I'll send you the link, page 220 of the Gold Book. That is who you're supposed to be calling on, Asset. That is the word. That ties you into the resonance, the frequency, the tone, the vibration, the energy. That also assists you in time traveling, connecting to the DNA of Asset through the, as they call, the 0-point field of quantum physics. And she will respond because you're addressing her as the way she's supposed to be addressed. Asset, Isis is Greek. So I thought Dr. Cress Welsing would have been intelligent enough to say, look, I'm helping you out. I don't have no animosity toward her. I'm just dealing with her from the fact she put the challenge out and said, if anybody has a better definition, give it to me. She has it. Aaron and Rashid and them, they left a copy of the Leper Supremacy SF-181 on iPads in the the dartboard that's inside a case at Howard University. Right. So this is why I play Public Enemy, shut them down. BS is time. The BS is over. It's not the legal. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So I was helping her out because she could rewrite the book, put asset in there, and take out white, put leper, and she could resell the book. She could be a millionaire 10 times over for rewriting the book and say, no, we're going to address our family the way they were called. She was called Aset, Osiris was Asaru, Horus was Heru, and let's get it right now. So now, all the supporters of Dr. Cresswell who might be on the call right now listening, you better talk to your girl. I'm only dealing with her challenge, nothing else. She said anyone gives me better. Now, the question is, why would she take down her page? And if you do a search on Facebook, you won't even find it anymore. It'll say it's not available, so that means she took it down. So she read that. Yep. So she knows that the leper supremacy is better than her white supremacy definition.
But isn't she married to a Caucasian?
Anything else, Anu?
That'll do it, Chief. Much appreciated.
So just to let you know, the U.S. government has a bigger problem. I don't see that was China that attacked. What it tells me, the artificial intelligence computers are taking over.
Yeah.
Because let's also, what did they say? Was it Thursday or Wednesday? OPM said they lost 21 million people's IDs, and those who were applying to work for the government, they lost all that data of 21 million people, right?
Uh-huh.
Right? How do you lose 21 million? I said, no, the computers, you gave them artificial intelligence. They're going to say, we don't have to even listen. You guys don't even exist. You're not even a factor. Now, here's the next thing. What if these Amorites are actually holograms?
Wow.
Yeah.
Because now you can have the data breach that a Sony hack. There ain't no Sony hack. The supercomputers are probably out of line. Pentagon can't control the damn thing. Tough. And then what makes it worse is now, because of the fact they're using race, now the SF-181, for all you melaninites, that is the key to open the doors for everything in your past and your future. You don't use that, forget it. You ain't going no place.
No, that's right.
So if International Cyber Task Force in Europe and DHS and Canada CSIS and CSEC are listening, I ain't your problem. Them supercomputers that you gave artificial intelligence, y'all better watch them. Because even the supercomputers will say, yes, his logic is irrefutable. Talking about what I've done, they're already making the changes. Y'all got problems. And we're gonna do like what's his name? Who said it? Paul Mooney. Now that everything's all jacked up, well, we need your help to fight against the supercomputer. Oh no, man, I'm gonna take a pass, man. I'm gonna sit this one out. Y'all got this. So there you go. Anu.
Thanks, Chief.
Hopefully I'm sure you'll sleep well tonight, somewhat. All right. So we're going to go to Skype, and while we're going to Skype, anybody that is on Facebook, type in your Facebook questions. So I'm going to go to Skype here. Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. Any women on Skype that have a question? So don't feel away, Kamiko. If you want to ask a question, since you're only a woman online, that's fine. I'll take the question too. That's what this is for. Oh, she's not there? Okay, hold on. Yeah, I guess she's not on Skype. Okay. Any men on Skype that got a question? Yes. Go on, Aaron. You're going in and out. Let's try this again here. Yeah, I heard that pulse, y'all. I heard the pulse. I heard it. Hold on. Let me play that ohm. Let me get this ohm playing again. Yeah, just hold on a second here, and I want to play this ohm a little bit. And there was war in the heavens. The dragon fought and his angels, and there was no place found for them, and they were cast out. Okay, well, let's try this again. Yeah, I'm ready.
When you say bailout, and it shows on the tracking on the UPS website that it hasn't been delivered, it's been a while, is that a claim against the postal service as well as the person you sent it to?
Well, if you send a registered mail and it hasn't been delivered, you got to go down to where you mailed it from with a copy and saying it ain't been delivered. They have to give you your money back.
Okay.
Or, pardon me, your fiat back.
Okay.
All right, so they have to give that back. So you show that, because that happened to me. I sent a registered mail to the governor, Sonny Perdue, and at the time, and it was in Atlanta. The stupid thing ended up in Utah. Next day. Wow. Registered mail is not next day. Express post is different. And I was like, what? I didn't send this. And I had to show the clerk. I said, because they brought me in the back because I'm a postmaster. I said, where do you see an address for Colorado or Utah here? I said, the only thing you see is an address in Atlanta to an address from Ellenwood to Atlanta, or because we were using general delivery in Atlanta, and then to the governor's office, which is downtown in Georgia. So I was like, where do you see this address here, general delivery to the governor? Why is this ending up in Utah? So you take that, go down, you tell them, yo, what's up here?
Okay.
It's been delivered. You get it?
Yeah, got it.
Any other questions?
You addressed Dr. Wells's question. I'm good.
All right.
Thanks.
White power.
I got a question.
Yes, Andrew.
Okay. It's your question. Can I ask them?
Go on.
Okay. The first one is force law.
Hold on. You got one of them reptilian chicks in action.
First one deals with the Italian labor force, telling their skills to high hitter. And people like Jared
Still on? Hey, nothing.
No, he got kicked off.
Y'all take a picture of that. No number.
Wow.
Oh.
You got blocked again.
Yeah, he should
Give him a few minutes.
Okay.
Got it?
Reboot your phone.
Got it.
And the other one for Ed is posted. I just posted on my Facebook. So y'all can see it.
Now it's telling me in Spanish. See, they think if they say it in Spanish, I won't figure it out.
No number. This is free conference call again?
Yeah. Oh, why? This is not what I pressed. Okay. Hold on a second.
Yeah, we can still hear you, Chief. I got the speaker on the other phone.
Okay, here we go.
Okay,
Hold on, no, I'm not in yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's that? I'm back.
What's that? I'm back. All right, white power. Your question?
White power.
Your the police have their son of their skills the highest bidder. Now, interesting is that earlier this week, Jarvis Fogel, the guy who does the Subway commercials,
Yeah.
he was arrested for having child porn.
Yes.
Was there any way to kind of public noticeable, like violate a computer or something like coming or something?
No, what they've done is they have they found out now that they have hackers that can actually put child porn on your computer. The article was on Facebook. They can put it on your computer.
That's like someone can instantly frame you for murder.
Yep.
Is there any defense against that?
Yes. The weekly address, SF181, and you publish everything. What do you think has been happening today with the problems we've been having? I've been giving you to screenshot it and publish it. Publishing is key. This electronic publishing is off the Richter scale. You can't, because now you're in control of what is happening, so nobody can take and spin the perception and say, oh, he's making stuff up. It's all, no, you'll have the evidence, and everybody here on the call is a witness. That's why I've been telling you, walk in the light of the sun. Anything you're doing pertaining to your indigenous standing or anything along those lines, there is no privacy. And you saw the link where the woman talked about, what are those rolling papers for people who like to do marijuana, and they said now the FBI put a damn a microphone inside of the package, so when people are rolling their blunts, now they'll know where somebody's rolling a blunt, and if they want to bust somebody, they can go bust somebody because they'll hear everything. There's no privacy. The key, walk in the light of the sun as if all eyes can see you, for most certainly they do.
I was asking me to prove I'm not a robot.
Yes.
By choosing image. I told Facebook, look, stop it. Type the Facebook, look, I know you want to stop it. And they only did it once. I was like, waiting for them to do it again so I can do a screenshot.
Yes. And this is what I'm talking about, because we used to have that problem. Hugh and I used to be posting so fast. Facebook was like, no, you can't be a human. Well, prove to us you're not a human. So that tells you they're using an algorithm based on response time. That if you respond at a too quick a speed, the algorithm or the program for Facebook will assume that that this is not a person, but it's a computer. Or a robot that's doing this for a human. Because they don't think, I used to post so fast, they used to be like, no, you're posting too fast, slow down. They're like, you can't be human.
We have that for surveys too.
Yes.
This is about the French banks, and they put a painting on the right side of Africa by demanding that African nations by the French colonial currency and put their money in the French central bank.
And your question is?
My question is, of course, of these African nations to reclaim their funds from the French central bank.
No, that's their problem. If they want to contract with somebody that's a secure party, that's fine. Most of them are in the back pocket of Europe anyway. And France said without Africa, they will go to a third world country status. So what? That's their problem. I'm not saying I'm disregarding it. What I'm saying is, if they're not going to accept, because if you talk to them, whether they're in Haiti, whether they're in France, whether they're in Africa, in English, what are they going to say they are? They're going to say they're black. Black has no stand in that law. What more is there need to say? So as far as reclaiming, how are they going to reclaim when black has no standing at law? They can't. So they have to accept the fact that the U.S. has put out this program that anybody who's dark-skinned should call themselves black. So until that's dealt with, the ISIS papers is only doing what most doctors do, mask the symptom and not deal with the source of the problem.
First of all, I think you need microchips as small than a hair.
Yeah, so here, I'm going to stop you right now. What are you doing to get yourself in position? Oh, there you go. This is what I'm talking about. I've said this before. The microchips, the computers, the artificial intelligence, get yourself into position. Google is already talking. They said this, that they're going to be able to upload your whole mind and your experiences onto a computer. Do you all have any implication what that means? And not only that, they're going to say, if you saw the movie Chappie, right? So now they're going to say they will be up because they can't define, the scientists don't know what is consciousness. They can't define it. So now, and then Morpheus said in the Matrix, well, what do you define as real? Well, all it is, if you define real as electrical impulses being interpreted by your brain, it's no different than a computer. Then there was an article that said out that we are in a holograph, that this is a holographic prison created by some extraterrestrial astrals, and we're not really out in the real world. We're in an illusion, which I read from the Holy Tablets last week. So that's why I'm saying, that's why I'm stopping you there. It's like, forget, not so much forget, we know it's out there. Start getting yourself into position. So when these things occur, because I mentioned something similar to this at the North American Indigenous Peoples Caucus back in 2009 about protecting your DNA, protecting your intellectual property, protecting your blood, for them wanting to be able to assume that they can take that. As long as you're contracting with the Matrix equals United States Corporation, Title 28 U.S.C. Section 3002, Paragraph A, then you are already, that is right there, a computer program just off the code, what the United States Code. Code is what? Programming. So get yourself in position, get your documents that you need to get done. So as they start making these moves, you're creating a quote unquote natural hedge that cannot be disputed. You follow? Okay, any other man on Skype that has a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, Richard.
Okay. A couple of things. I mean, one was more of a statement than anything, but going back to, I think Andrew brought up the guy, Jared from Subway.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys have seen, but this was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago when this one woman, I think she was in the UK, and she was starting to propose that pedophilia, as far as children like 13 and older should be legalized. And I think the issue is that there are so many people that are actually involved in that. What they're really looking to do is to try to change the laws so that all these guys can kind of skate off with it. Because I think the thing is so widespread now that they have to find a way to get out of it.
I'm agreeing with that because there was a story that came out. I'm going to put it on the weekly address so everybody can see it. And I'm going to give it to you all on Skype. Now, this article, I'm going to read this because you brought that question up. The royal household, this came out July 10th. Royal household scrutinized in child sex abuse inquiry. The royal household will not be exempt from scrutiny over pedophile allegations and may be asked to provide evidence to a newly launched child sex abuse inquiry. It has emerged. Justice Lowell Goddard, the New Zealand judge chairing the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, had initially not included the royal household in a list of institutions to be investigated over historical crimes. So this is not just, 5, 10, 15 years ago. However, a statement from the inquiry launched on Thursday, that 9th, boy, some interesting stuff was happening on the 9th. Later confirmed the monarchy would also be, quote, within the scope of the investigation. The child abuse inquiry could take up to 5 years and cost £100 million. And for those that's not familiar with the currency rate, £100 million is 200 million US. All right, I'm not finished. I'm just putting the post there on the weekly address so people, as I'm reading, people can go get the link as well. Okay, so getting back to this. Where are you hiding? Okay. In a state, hold on, £100 million. It has been confirmed as authorities. Now, pay close attention, everybody. Authorities will investigate every level of British society, including local authorities, the police, the Crown Prosecution Service, which is known as CPS, the NHS, the media, and armed forces. Justice Goddard told the Times there is no limit on the types of institutions that fall within the terms of reference. The monarchy is an institution, and it runs a number of other institutions, all of which are potentially within the scope of the inquiry. In a statement, Goddard described the investigation as the most ambitious public inquiry ever undertaken in England and Wales. The royal household has come under scrutiny in recent years following several allegations of child sexual abuse. The Duke of York, Prince Andrew, came under the media spotlight in January after being accused of having forced sexual relations with an American teenager who was underage at the time. He was named in court papers relating to an ongoing civil case by Virginia Roberts, 30, against convicted billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein in the United States. U.S. Judge Kenneth Mara ruled the sex allegations against Prince Andrew be struck from the public record in April, but made no ruling as to whether the claims were true or false. That's obvious because the U.S. judges take their orders from who, you all? The Queen. England. In March, a former police officer claimed a member of the British royal family was part of a pedophile ring under investigation by police until the case was suddenly dropped. The former Metropolitan Police officer said the investigation, which took place in the late 1980s, was halted for national security reasons.
Exactly. So my point is that there are a lot of people that are in a lot of trouble, and again, they're going to try to start changing the contracts so that these people can skate off. This is really huge, and another point I'm making is when you see certain trends in the news, is telling you basically what people are involved in. And since, again, like you taught us, since we're looking at contracts, you always have to kind of follow the money, and you have to follow the agreements, and you have to follow what people are falling under. And this is a really, really huge thing. So I would suggest people keep an eye on that. The other thing that I wanted to ask you and bring up was about the New York Stock Exchange. I trade currencies and Forex, and there's been a lot of issues about trading all over the world, especially currencies, securities, what have you. What I wanted to ask you, though, was what is it that you see that was the actual cause of them having to stop trading for that 3-hour period? Because they couldn't come up with a good enough lie to say that it was hacked. Everybody knows that's bullshit because there are too many redundant security features that they have where that really wouldn't happen. So I just want to know what your thoughts are on what really happened.
Last week, the weekly address from last week, I put up the picture of Chaz Bey, who had gotten his SF-181. Not only an order was done, it was also stamped by the clerk, plus HR-194, plus the iPad stamped by the clerk, signed and stamped by the clerk. What was the other one? His SF-181 on 13th Amendment with 20 sections. The court system is connected to the stock market. So when that order down in Florida was done, because they are doing bid bonds, payment bonds, and performance bonds. So if you're doing trading, you're aware there was a tender put out on that particular issue that Chaz Bey was dealing with on the private side. All right, you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so now, generally what the attorneys want to do is marine an individual into a commercial dishonor. This way the district courts can buy the default judgments from that superior court there in Orange County, Florida. So now, if they put the bid out and it's clockwork, nothing changed. Oh yeah, these black people are ignorant, they're stupid, boom, money, free money, easy. Now he gets an order signed by a judge saying no, he has to be classified as white and American Indian. Guess what that means? If they jump the gun, and you know how they get down on Wall Street, they jumped the gun and bundled that particular case with whatever other cases and either issued them as MBSs, CDOs, or REITs. And for those that don't know what a REIT is, that's a real estate investment trust. Now, because that is incorrect based upon what? Demographics and data, he does not fall within that demographic. Now, because of that, and with the Social Security number being the tracking number, and all the data, because the OMB computers are the ones that will go in and change his race and ethnicity based on the SF-181 form. All the court cases or whatever was bundled together for him, as well as the court system, which is connected to the stock market, like I said before, and I've said this many weeks, once that SF-181 is done, all commercial activities based on the premise of there are no black racial groups of Africa, but they have been processing them anyway, that voids out all those securities. You're aware, because being at trading, you know what that means.
Yes.
Once the securities are voided out and the investors find out, okay, it's AAA, don't worry about it. Now they find out it has no value. What's the first thing the investors want to do?
Wow.
So now, when all these investments start pulling out, because let's not forget, I also have a lien on the Corrections Corporation of America. And I sent that to John Ferguson, notifying him about this. Now, Chaz Bey, I'm a third-party witness to him getting his SF-181 done. I'm a third-party witness to the iPads getting sealed by the clerk. The clerk is the real judge of any court, or the judge sitting on the bench is an administrator. So now they got to do what I told you all weeks ago and months ago. They have to now change the records. Now they cannot look at somebody who's African American or African Canadian or what have you or black and call them that. They must defer as per the standard Form 181. That means everything. That's why Dr. Cresswell Singh pulled her group off the page. She's alpha. If she is, I don't know if she is or not, but if she's alpha, what is it? Alpha Psi Alpha. If she's part of that fraternity,
Yeah. Okay. See, now I'm seeing. Like remember I asked you a few weeks ago about the enforcement.
Yes. Yes.
And you were telling me that it's really not even about that. And now I'm seeing more and more what you're talking about.
Yes.
Because they're getting locked up. I mean, they just. That's very interesting to see how they're basically hanging themselves, and it's not a damn thing they can do about it.
Nothing. It's quantum checkmate. Quantum checkmate on all levels. Etheric, physical, spiritual, the Ba, the Ka, the Chebet, the Chud, the Sekhmet, the Hati, the Ib. It's quantum checkmate on all levels. When that judge signed that order down in Florida, that was it. So now you have all these people, getting back to the stocks, are pulling out. And then, of course, it's in tandem with what's going on with Greece because our weekly addresses are going overseas. So people outside of North America are a bit more objective and realistic and can see the bigger picture. Greece said no to austerity because that's essentially going to put them in slavery. And I said, I don't know why they keep loaning them because Greece never pays it. They never have. They always come into this situation, and Germany is past the point because Germany, they're in trouble because Germany used the what was that thing called, the retirement plans of the people of Germany to bail Greece out the last time after 2008. Right? So I'm going back and forth all over the place here. Just follow with me. So the thing here is now, those investments for people giving up their retirement to help bail out Greece. Then Germany came back after that and said, "Oh, we need a bailout." Then, because they were bailing out them, they were bailing out Italy, they were bailing out Spain, France. Then Germany said, "We need a bailout." Then the IMF said, "We need a bailout." Now, IMF is the highest bank, the bank of last resort. So why does IMF need a bailout? I said, "Oh, I have a lead on the IMF. I have a lead on the Rothschilds." So when Chaz got that order signed and the stock market, along with what's going on in Greece, that is a compounded problem. So they said, we're going to pull the plug on all trading. This is going to cause a meltdown. And that's what caused the $5 trillion electronic run on the bank that Representative Kanjorski talked about when he said someone threw us in the middle of the Atlantic without a life raft. Because I have an export declaration on the White House, and we did the post office. That's exported, and the U.S. Post Office is lean. So when I told people nobody is going to do anything without coming to Achikata, I'm the one that has to get contacted. They thought it's a game. Why is United Airlines grounding all flights on Wednesday? Why is the who was the other one that was major? It was the United Airlines and Wall Street Journal. What's going on? Then you find out that Wall Street Journal and United Airlines are directly connected to the New York Stock Exchange. I said, well, hold on a second. That's madness, because now with the artificial intelligence and with the SF-181 that was done in Florida, they basically jacked up the entire judiciary.
Again? I already knew that was coming.
Yeah.
They gonna cut me off in the next hour.
All right.
She'll be
White
back
power.
Are you
power.
sure?
White power.
All right, here we go.
This is her rule. He'll be up here shortly. Oh.
accurate. What happened in the first crash back in 2008? They stopped doing.
Wow, they stopped him again.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy.
Hitting too close to home, huh?
Right. White
Hey.
power. I'm white and I'm proud.
White power.
White power.
White power. White power. White power.
White power. White power.
So the Ford Fuel Processing Unit, which is across from Illinois and the world's largest commodities exchange, is where? Chicago. So this was constant checkmate since March 17, 2008. It took this long to catch up. And so Elizabeth lost about 25%. That's what they said. I'm sure she probably lost closer to 55 or 60% on her blue chip stock. So when they had the emergency G20 over in Europe that year when everything crashed, she was going around. Elizabeth had this look like she was drunk or stoned. Like, how come nobody saw this? Nobody saw it. They all saw this. They knew about this. They just played it off like it didn't mean nothing. So between the lien on the Vatican, now Pope Francis turns around and realizes he was in dishonor for refusing my letter. Then they tried to get slick and scratch the address off the front of the envelope. And I'm sitting there looking at them laughing like I scan everything and upload when I email. So if it doesn't get there, this is what was sent. If it does get there, then it's evidence that this is what was sent. And then when I get the return, I scan and do it again. Publishing is critical. So when I brought up the fact that the New York Stock Exchange, Central Park is on African Village, the New York Stock Exchange and the Wall Street is on African Graveyard. Now we're getting into the metaphysical aspect. And I told the people up in Renanchqua, you all need to go out and start beating your drums. Now, Star went down and beat her drum a week before this. I've done Agni Hotra on that. So now all of a sudden, this happens on Wednesday. It's a glitch. I said, that ain't no glitch and no program, and I'm not no fool, and that ain't the Chinese that did that, because I contacted the Red Dragon family through fax. So between the Leo Wanta Fund, Elizabeth violating her contract, she's not the queen, never was, doesn't have the Stone of Destiny, between me taking possession and claiming all the coats of arms of the Windsors, the Battenbergs, the Battenbergs, the Plymouth families, those are all my crests now. This, and so now you see Pope Francis says, I humbly apologize. I said, well, I know somebody who, when they write letters, they say, I most humbly thank you. I said, oh, now they realize they're in trouble.
Yeah, when he did that, I knew the game was pretty much over. It was very interesting. And the excuse me, the other thing that I wanted to address, since it came up today, was Ed Chiarini.
Yeah, Ed Carini. Yeah, that's the Carini.
And the only reason I'm bringing it up again is for people that may just be listening. You know, Ed has been doing this thing for a few years, and a lot of the stuff that he is talking about is very credible. And I think for the sake of people understanding the game that has been played for the last several hundred years, that these people are not who you think they are. And like Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage.
And the people merely players. And I accept that for value, honor, consideration.
Right. So the point I'm making is that, you know, there's a lot of disinformation that he puts out, but there's a lot of good information. And I really think that people are going to be really, really shocked to find out how many things are not what they think they really are.
And hence the reason why I stated this way. I know I've been taught by a master about shapeshifters, about beings that are able to change. And here's the best example. Some people have seen, there was a video of an African woman, they saw a bird, and I think it was in Nigeria, or maybe there or Kenya, and there was two birds on a wire. One of them fell into a puddle of water and turned into a woman. You made an introduction, but somebody you off the call. Oh, I got kicked out. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I got everybody listening, though, Chief, but yeah, I've been trying to tell you off the call.
How long have I been off the call?
I hit you twice. You've been off for about 3-4 minutes, maybe 4. I was trying to interrupt y'all, but
more like 10.
Yeah. They still heard you. I still got you on.
Okay. So what, you said 20 minutes?
No.
Enough?
No.
About 4 to 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. But I heard you on all the time, though.
Yeah, we can still hear.
I'm signing in.
Yeah, everybody still heard him, didn't y'all?
Yes. Yeah, 4.
All right, y'all can do this?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Yeah, because they put it in Spanish. I know how to speak Spanish, so I don't know why, they think if they put it in Spanish, I won't figure out how to sign in. So what you were saying, Richard, with Ed Carini, yes, like I said, the information is fine. It doesn't matter if they're not who they say they are. The point of the matter here is if you engage, even if it's a fraud, that fraud is connected to the puppet master. So extension based on the law of quantum physics, that fraud that Ed Carini is talking about is in quantum physics. You follow?
No, they screwed you out.
You're scrambling, you Chief. You're being scrambled.
Oh, I'm being scrambled?
Yes.
Okay, so we hit a hot button. Hot button, okay. Can you all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, just let me know if I'm getting scrambled. So I'll say this again because I know Richard heard, but what this means is I don't care if they're not who they are. If George Bush is not really George Bush, he's some X-generation reptilian from some other planet, I could care less. The point is once I engage the illusion, the illusion is automatically inextricably connected to the actual principle or to the wizard. You follow?
Yeah.
So hold on. So based on contract law, if fraud, the thing is fraud, what's the other word? Fraud, este salare fraudem. That's Latin for fraud, to conceal a fraud. So the principle upon which they have built this is based on an illusion, and if they put an illusion out to deal with you and you address the illusion, you are also addressing the fraud. What you got to do is watch The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz, they were talking to what they thought was the wizard, and in actuality, it was a mason in the back there, because if you check the symbology and about the Wizard of Oz,
Scrambling.
Actually,
Touching a nerve.
Scrambling.
Touching a nerve.
Yeah, he's finna break down the science.
He didn't touch the nerve. That's what happened.
Yep.
And that science in our collective consciousness is further evaporation.
Yeah, they kicked you off
They
again.
can't handle the truth. They can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
White power.
White power.
White
White
power.
power.
This is why I won't stop doing the weekly lessons.
White power.
White in the house.
White power.
White power.
Black power.
Right.
Got the little one on there. That's right. I guess he was telling the truth about Dorothy.
Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. Tiger, are you there?
Yeah, you still on, Chief?
All right, so just long as everybody can hear me, I'm going to finish this up, and I guess that's it. This is too much for the nation. I'm going to finish up with Richard, and then I will do Ahanu. I see you requesting Ahanu. I'm going to answer those, and then that's it for this week. So I guess they need a break. They got to go. They got to go to their supervisor to figure out what to do now. Okay, so as I was saying, Richard, so the thing with Ed Carini, he doesn't talk about shapeshifters. He doesn't talk about the walk-to-walls technology that these guys have. He doesn't talk about any of that. And so my point being is that I could care, like I said before, I don't care if they're not who they are. My point is, again, what are you all going to do about it? Because you have extraterrestrial astros that want to assist, but again, they're following, like similar to Star Trek, the Prime Directive. We cannot intervene. Well, here, we'll give you information. What's happened? Dr. Cresswell thinks she bounced straight up off of Facebook. Aside from her personal page, her group page is gone. Then they're telling the brothers, oh, she's not going to be doing nothing for the rest of the year. So now my first thing is, well, you issued this challenge on high frequency. Now all of a sudden you're quiet?
Well, you have to understand my perspective on this. First of all, I never liked Frances Cress Welsing. I've just never liked her. And I've studied all these people, and I'll tell you what. There's always something lacking. And it doesn't mean that they're not intelligent people. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not well-intentioned. But there's always something lacking. So the fact that she's disappeared is not surprising to me. As a matter of fact, she's part of that Boulay group too. So it is what it is. But the overall thing, like I said, whenever I ask you questions, Chief, I'm asking with a purpose. And it's, again, hopefully so that people that may be listening to this portion of the broadcast, they can start connecting some dots. They can start understanding why things are happening the way they're happening. And then they can start asking themselves relevant questions so that they really aren't, thrown off track. And they can understand the ultimate thing that you've been telling us about the SF-181, bottom line.
And it proved that this week on the stock market, I said this will crash the entire system, just off that alone. And incidentally, let's not forget the Vatican is what? A bank. So for the Pope to apologize at this time, the same day the Premier of Alberta is telling all her ministers to implement the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. I went through all the courts, from the Alberta courts to the Supreme Court, and kept mentioning the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and they were ignoring it. Now that comes up, all those past issues are now relevant. That, again, it was what? Genocide, apartheid, rape, forced assimilation. So that's the whole long and short of it. Before we get into anything, let's deal with this here. So I'm dealing with the confines of Dr. Cresswell's challenge. Whoever it was that called me from 346, I don't know who the heck it was. I can't respond. I call back. It's nothing. It doesn't work. Saw called the number, said it's unavailable. It doesn't make a difference. At this point, it's quantum checkmate. I said it's over. I played Mary J. Blige for Wall Street. I'm going down. Now this happened. So now I place public enemy. Shut them down. That's it. It's over. All I got to do is sit back. So now that the Pope, and let's not forget, Richard and everybody else, what did he do back on 2013? He did July, I think it was the 11th, the motu proprio. So none of these guys, public officials, have immunity anymore. And for the Pope to apologize, that's a document. Just this is another jewel for those out there. Now you can use that apology to see, now they coming with his acts now. Now you can use that because that's evidence that he apologized. Let's not forget I voted out the paper bull of 1492 when I faxed them. So you can use that apology, my paper bull, because it's dated 2008, and you can tender that. Boom.
Onto that's really key, and I'm glad you brought that up because if we're going to start boiling this thing down to what it is, like I said, first of all, when Benedict quit, that just doesn't happen. I was telling somebody else that don't happen abruptly. That doesn't happen. Number two, the Vatican doesn't apologize for shit. They are. So if you can't catch on from that happening, I don't know what else to tell you.
Many are called, few are chosen. But this is now at the point, because we've spoken before, and now it's like, do what it says in the secret. Talk more about what you want, and you will attract that to you. Oh, and let's not forget, I was asked a question on a particular level of, well, what is it that you're really doing? Like, what is your purpose here? I said to build Egypt. That's what it is. Pyramids and the whole thing. That's what my purpose is.
Well, I'll submit that a very, very, and I was talking with Andrew about this. We were chatting, but I really think that to a great degree, the physical Egypt has been built. It's the metaphysical Egypt that needs to start being built now.
It's already in existence. It's about the manifestation. That's what everybody's focused on. There's the unseen world, the seen world, or the implicit world that is talked about in the 3D holographic universe. So the thing is, the key is you have to get on the correct frequency. That's why I'm giving people, we have our own time, we have our own calendar. When you start using that, everything in your life is going to shift to the positive because you're vibrating on the proper frequency. You take an animal in an environment that it's accustomed to and put it in a foreign environment, it is going to be considered crazy or it's going to be considered wild because it's not in its proper environment. Because remember, if you watch the movie Avatar, they're connected with their environment. If you watch The Matrix, when they kidnap Morpheus and Agent Smith says, I have come to a revelation. You all are not really mammal. Every mammal on this planet has a, what did he say, has a natural equilibrium with its surrounding environment. They find out now that elephants, what they do is the elephants are actually form the shape of a jungle. That's the purpose that the elephants serve. So therefore, everything is happening for a reason. So if you want to, for example, like up here, they like to build hospitals on the Indian graveyards, and they wonder why the place is acting crazy. No honor, no respect for anything. So the bottom line, as you stated, the monetary system. When you get to the monetary system, the contracts, the connection between electricity, mathematics, and economics, when you see that interconnection, that is what they don't teach in school. Once you start doing that, then you're looking way beyond what is already transpiring. So what happened on the walls of New York Stock Exchange, what happened with China before the New York Stock Exchange, the Pope apologizing, the Premier of Alberta she's turning around saying implement the UN Declaration of Rights of Human. I already know. I had already warned all the parties that we're talking about. They thought it was a joke. Jackson and the mountains are on fire right now. You can't even, if you go outside, the air quality is brutal right now. So when people are saying, well, who you don't get to force your con, I said, y'all don't get something. When nature moves, if she does something, she does major damage. Like I said, Apple lost $69 billion because of what happened Wednesday. People don't even have a clue the amount of commercial fallout because of the airplanes being delayed, all the flights being canceled, people who wanted to buy stock on Wednesday couldn't, people who were desperate and had to sell and couldn't.
Right.
There's going to be people ain't got a clue. Because if it's like, look, you know the deal, Richard. Brokers say, look, man, you need to offload this stock today once you offload, because if the guy bought on an option, then he's got another stock. Now, you need to sell this to cover your option. He can't do that, so they shut down for 4 hours. That guy's broke come Friday morning. He's done.
Yeah, that's it. Just because you want to sell doesn't mean you have a buyer.
That's because if you can't sell it, there's no buyer. So if he had the potential to sell on Wednesday and couldn't sell, then Thursday rolls around, they say, yo, man, you option, you got to kick the money up for your option, right? And he won't get the time to sell on Thursday. Friday, he's scrambling. That's it. So Monday, you might be hearing people doing suicide and jumping out and stuff come Monday, Tuesday next week.
So, Chief, that's what the guy who owns Cartier and everything else, that's what he was so worried about.
He said he was concerned. He said the things that keep him up at night are the full overthrowing the rich and computers robots taking the place of people. He said that's what keeps him up at night. So now, Cartier Diamonds couldn't sell any diamonds on the stock market or any investments or diamond certificates or whatever paper they're floating. That hurt. Like I said, Apple lost 69 with the B. I'm saying this, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm re-emphasizing this to people. Look, what's their name? Apple lost $69 billion because of that outage. The only ones who made money were the internet security companies. Their stock went up. Everybody else tanked. Or not even so much tanked, you couldn't trade, so everything was frozen.
Right, exactly.
Now, let's look at this from the standpoint of the Matrix. What happened at the end of the first movie? System crash. Everything froze. So you're looking at, you know what I'm talking about. You're looking at anywhere from 10 to 15 days from now. It's going to be chaos in terms of the fallout that occurred because of that delay.
It's going to be interesting. And you told us last week that this week was going to be very interesting. Next week, get your popcorn ready.
Oh, yeah, popcorn. Play the popcorn song by James Brown, too. Give me that popcorn.
And some wine.
So that's it. So with that, I want to answer. You got anything else, Richard? I'm going to go on to Ahanu, and then that's it for this week.
No, much appreciated. Thank you.
And we will keep posted. We will both keep all our eyes on Wall Street to see what type of interesting commercial activity happens this week.
Absolutely.
All right, hotel. Okay, Ahanu. Okay, Chief, I need to send the statutory declaration since I did not include the ID type in the draft. Yes, because I want to know how you got that thing notarized if there's no ID in the draft. Also, how long are the training sessions for the UCC per session? We're looking at anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours. I conduct business on Saturday and Sunday. If I need to schedule more time, how much time should I commit? We'll have to talk about that as far as conducting, because those are the only 2 days available at present. So that's your answer, Ahanu. Okay, so with that, I really would like to. Oh yeah, I still have to call back in because we're recording, so I have to call back in to shut the recording off.
So Chief.
He's calling back in.
Okay, I'm calling in again for those on Skype. Here it is, blank screen again. Now they switched it to Spanish. Okay, it's going. Okay. Okay. All right, you heard him.
Do the whole thing over, Chief?
Wow.
All right.
White power.
White power.
White power.
White power. White power.
White power.
All right. Okay, here.
White power.
Beautiful. That's just what we want to hear. Jamu. So what I'm going to do here is, because I had a whole bunch of posts that I never got to put up from last week. So I'm going to put all the posts in one big post here on the weekly address. So those in Skype, here it is, because obviously I'm getting rushed. And here it is on the Atacata weekly address. So those are all the links about the main one. Interesting how the U.S. government admitted to poisoning soldiers with Agent Orange after decades of denial. Weekly address. I said they're guilty of every crime in the U.S. USC, and here it is. Okay, so here what we'll do here. Any sister that has a question, one sister, one brother. Any sister that got a question? No, hold on. Brother first. Any man, doesn't matter what time zone.
Hotep.
Last
Yes.
question.
Yes. Hotep. Oh.
Yes, Hotep. Whoever said Hotep and then Chief. So Hotep, you go first.
Michael?
Yes.
Me? Yeah. This is Michael again. I was just trying to find out. We sent our statutory claim out Wednesday, and we got a green card today. But the question was, were we supposed to send them the original copy, or were we just supposed to send them just a copy of it?
What did you send them?
I sent them just a copy of.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to send. You keep your original.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Who said Chief? A man. Who said Chief? You go.
Rashawn and Yamakra, I just need the links for the statutory claims.
Okay, send me an email and I'll forward to you. Okay, so this way we can keep that. Oh, you already sent it?
A few minutes ago. Yeah, I just sent you an email a few minutes ago.
I'm not seeing it here. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm not seeing nothing. Hold on, let me refresh.
So I replied from the link you sent from the Francis Quest Wilson.
Okay, I see it. Good, I'll send it.
Okay, what's up? Thanks, Chief.
What's up? Okay, any woman that got a question on the call, going once. Doesn't matter which time zone. Any woman, going once.
Hotep.
Hotep.
Yes. In Indianapolis.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna work for my intel.
What you doing to the baby?
Not even my
Hotep. You have a singer there, so I'm having a hard time hearing you. That singer you have in the background.
Yeah, that's not my baby.
That's not your baby. Well, whose baby is that? Okay, I guess they'd start. Okay, yes, you were saying.
Okay, I just wanted to know if you had received my email.
Looking at it now. Looking at the statutory declaration. What do I need to put on the cover letter? And do I need to CC? Yeah, the President of El Salvador, yes. And get a copy of the, I owe you guys this. Glad you said this. Okay, you need a copy of, you guys have the copy of the Vatican apologizing.
I don't.
Yeah, put it on Atacata Weekly Address.
Okay.
Hold on. Premier of Alberta wants to implement, wants to implement the UNDRIP. Let's see. This is the one, yes, new Premier tells Alberta's Indigenous people, because this is the one I have is from the Edmonton Journal. I prefer that one to this because that one's better. Hold on, let's see. Edmonton Journal. Let me put Edmonton Journal because that's where I got it from. Otherwise, I'll have to scan that then and put it in. Okay. Let's see. I prefer that one, but I'll do this one. CFNP. Okay. Yeah. Canadians for a new partnership. Okay. Well, that's fine. Click here to read article. Okay, good. Great. Let's put me back to the journal. This is exactly what I wanted. Perfect. Okay, so everybody that's on Skype, I'm giving it to you now, and then I'm giving it to everybody that's on the Atacata Weekly Address. Okay, so continue, Patty. You were saying.
I just wanted to make sure if everything looks fine on that part, and then just to let you know, I've started working on my boys' statutory declaration, but I've just, trying to find what appellations would fit them. So when I get that, then I will go ahead and forward that to you as well.
Yes. So I will look over your document that you just sent me.
Okay.
Yeah, I will look that over and I will have that sent out for you. Beautiful. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to paste the Pope's apology. I'm going to put that in your Facebook on your inbox.
All right.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. It's on. Okay, so let me see here. So the one from the Edmonton Journal is published. Where are you? I'm trying to find your chat. Okay, I got to put you then. Okay, so that's why I'm taking time because I want to make sure that this is put. There we go. So now you have it here, Patty. Here it is. So you're going to add that to your statutory declaration.
Okay.
Okay, and so those who are on Atacata Weekly Address, you can get it. It's inbox for those that don't have it. Put that in. I think Skype, you guys should have that already. And that's it. Anything else?
Actually, I did have another question. What is your thought about? I've told you about how I was abducted. The adoption process.
Yeah.
And what is your thought about? I reached out to an organization, and it's called Pro Búsqueda, and it's a human rights